Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Today is January 18th, 2023, Wednesday, and we are getting prepped for the divisional round of the playoffs. Matchups are set, baby. We're here to talk about that and a little bit of everything else. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up?
What is up?
Hello, we are robots today.
We are the football morning robots.
Beep,
Slur,
boop.
drinking
Be honest,
sound.
I used to be fully comfortable doing a robot impression, guys. I used to be fully comfortable. Now, every time right before I do it, after hearing the greatest robot impression of all time, I hesitate. I hesitate every time because it's in my head. I'll never be Caldwell Tanner. I'll never be Caldwell Tanner.
Here's the thing, though, dude. You've heard Morgan Freeman and you've heard Sir David Atwell, but you still talk in English. So you just got to get beyond it, dude. You're not gonna be the best every time. So say something like a robot and break the barrier.
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 That's me on the toilet every morning. Break the barrier.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well,
I've made a mess.
Oil everywhere. We've gotten into it early this morning, but JL, before we move on to the important stuff, I think the first text I sent you yesterday morning was, "You ever have a corked diarrhea?" Was the very first text message I sent to you yesterday.
That sounds terrible, bro.
We're going to leave it at that. Guys, it is that time of the morning. This is the perfect segue. We bring the topics to discuss. We got the news stories. All you guys got to bring is some breakfast. If you brought something to eat, whip it out now. We're going to bring out some news stories to talk about. You guys just get a little something to munch on. Jail, you got your juice for breakfast? Anything else?
I got my juice, boys. Just water.
Oh, yeah.
I had a Nature Valley this morning, though.
Advertising worked on me yesterday. I was watching a YouTube video and a Pop-Tart commercial came up, and I thought, oh, I haven't had a Pop-Tart in years. Like, I want a Pop-Tart. And I stood up immediately, like before the commercial was over, and walked to the gas station and bought a Pop-Tart. I needed one. Like, I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks so good.
Dude, there it is. Everything, things happen in threes. That was the third Pop-Tart thing I needed to see within the last 24 hours. Because
now you're a Pop-Tart.
Because I got an ad.
Pop-Tart.
I got an ad, or somebody posted on Twitter a picture of a coffee creamer that was cinnamon Pop-Tart flavor. And I was like, wow, that's wild. And then in my group chat with my boys from college, within like an hour, somebody posted a picture of Funfetti cupcake Pop-Tarts, which looked amazing. And then now you have completed the trifecta by whatever you said.
Congratulations. You now own Pop-Tarts, Coop. Incredible.
What's your guys' favorite Pop-Tart flavor?
It depends what mood I'm in. Like, do I want a fruity one?
Angry.
In which case I'm gonna go mixed berry as my fruit one. The berry one with like the pink and blue. You know what I'm talking about? And then as far as the the more dessert ones, give me that ice cream sundae or hot fudge sundae.
Frosted or non-frosted?
Frosted. And I'm usually not a frosting guy, but a Pop-Tart needs it.
Yeah, what's an angry Pop-Tart?
It's that naked plain one
that you have to eat like as you're running out the door because you're running late.
Yeah, that's exactly what an angry one is. Maybe s'mores is the angry one.
That's like the only one I've ever had.
S'mores?
Seems pretty aggressive.
No, not s'mores. Like just eating a cold Pop-Tart because I'm like, what do I gotta leave? What do I have? What do I have? Yeah.
Pro tip: take the brown sugar cinnamon ones, toast them, and then use them as the bread for a peanut butter sandwich. Throw peanut butter on the back side of one of them, the non-icing side, squish it with another one. They're warm. They melt the peanut butter a little bit. You get a cinnamony, sugary peanut butter deliciousness. It's incredible.
Interesting.
It's rich, though. You better have a drink ready. Have some water or some milk if you are of the milk drinking type. Have something ready to go.
I am of the milk drinking type. That sounds like the friggin' monorail to diabetes town, bro.
But it's delicious. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show, guys. Maria in here says, closes app. Must have been the robot poop talk bright and early. And Albert saying, good morning, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome in. We got Tommy in the chat with his daily rhyme. It says 3 more sleeps till this weekend's game. I need some football. I'm going insane. We'll keep it short. We'll keep it brief. It's the FYF crew to provide some relief.
Yeah. Football. And other stuff.
Football.
And other things. Which I've been kind of it's been in the back of my mind this whole time. Jell, which Nature Valley bar did you have this morning? Did you have that biscuit one, or did you have one of those like stalactite ones that we talked about yesterday?
Biscuit.
The biscuit. Now I'm intrigued by those. I have to go shopping.
Give it a go. Give it a little whirl, and you let me know what you think.
Yeah, I had a Nutri-Grain bar and a banana, and a coffee and a milk.
Ooh.
I go big at breakfast, I feel. Most days.
What'd you eat, Sam?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, man.
I eat breakfast after the show. It's too early for me to eat breakfast. I just don't like it. I eat a breakfast this show ends at 9 a.m. I go and I throw together a peanut butter tortilla or a peanut butter bagel, nice big old glass of water, and we have ourselves a morning. But before then,
No.
Mm-mm. What was the other thing you texted me yesterday? I'm pretending the whole peanut butter tortilla I'm eating is you.
You said I miss you.
Ah.
That was my response to that. It was my way of telling you, I miss you too, buddy. This peanut butter tortilla I'm eating, it's you.
That's you. This is you.
This is you.
And you're like brushing its hair.
Every time you take a bite, I'm like, ow.
I didn't want any more tortilla. I just wanted peanut butter. So I opened it up and licked some of the peanut butter out. This is for you, JL. And Tom wants to know, was he crunchy or smooth? Smooth. Creamy.
Always smooth.
Yeah, JL's a creamy boy, without a doubt. Also, Maria, you're saying, I thought only Kate did the shopping.
She does. That's what I meant when I said I needed to go shopping.
Busted.
I was using the royal eye, which is
royal eye.
The old, or Kate, or as Kate would say, we need to, or you. That's what she would say. You need to take the trash.
Great
out.
console.
Yeah, she just skips right from we need to take the trash out, which means you, to you need to take the trash out.
Which is also what my friends' little children call the ambulance or fire trucks.
A Wii U.
Yeah, gotta get the Wii U's.
It's like Patrick. Wee woo. Man, I think I brought this up on the show the other day, but maybe I didn't. You see, there was an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants that was taken off of all streaming services, removed.
Why?
Yeah.
And it was the one where SpongeBob and Patrick took Mr. Krabs on a panty raid of his own mother's house. Do you guys remember that episode as children?
Yes.
Where like they're taking Mr. Krabs and they take him into a house. They don't tell him who it is, and they're stealing underpants from a woman's house, and it's Mr. Krabs' own mother's house. He finds out at the end of it. Like at first I was pissed. I was like, they're gonna remove an episode of SpongeBob, and then like I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's fair. That
fine.
It didn't cause any lasting damage to me, but maybe not encouraging panty raids is probably a fine stance for Nickelodeon to take.
Right. There were much more problematic shows than that one, I will say.
For sure. It was a different era of cartoons.
Right. Like if you're gonna remove shows, you should start with removing every episode of Ren and Stimpy.
And then move over to like half the episodes of Rocko's Modern Life. Like about half of those should go ahead and be removed.
Easily half.
We had some news come in yesterday. Adam Schefter tweeted it out that the Chargers have fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi. Their passing games coordinator was let go as well. Shane Day, also their quarterbacks coordinator. So it does look like what we talked about yesterday. They're revamping the staff around Brandin Staley is what this looks like. They're making changes elsewhere, and they're going to roll with Brandin Staley as the head coach. Coop, what do you think about these moves?
So with Joe Lombardi, from a fantasy football perspective, my worry is that maybe Austin Eckler now doesn't get quite as many targets as he did. Obviously, Austin Eckler is awesome. He's got his skill set. He's going to get targets, but he got an absurd number of targets here. And for those that remember, Joe Lombardi coached with the Saints and with Alvin Kamara, and when he was briefly the Lions coach, the three running backs on the team, I think it was like Reggie Bush and Joique Bell and I don't know, like Michaela Shore or somebody else. They combined for like 130 targets. Like this guy's playbook features throwing the ball to the running back fairly heavily. So that's my one concern for fantasy football. Not that I think that Lombardi's an offensive genius and he's great for fantasy football. It's just I like the idea of 100 targets for Austin Eckler. So we'll have to see who comes in next. But I was getting pretty comfortable with the way that offense worked for fantasy purposes. So
Yeah.
For real life purposes, I mean, they lost. So sometimes you got to mix it up.
I agree. And whenever you look at this offense, this Chargers offense, we see this like crazy pass volume offense, but you look a little bit deeper and they're the king of short yardage pass plays. That's what they do. They are not throwing the ball deep down the field. And that's why Austin Eckler's eaten in this offense. I'm with you, Coop. That's probably the biggest question mark for me with this firing. He's still Austin Eckler. He's still going to be great. But does he still have that number one overall running back upside? Because, Joe, you mentioned it yesterday multiple times that Austin Eckler, his value comes from his opportunity, from that crazy opportunity share.
Right. Yeah, I wonder, this kind of feels like one of those situations where maybe we got a sacrificial lamb.
Somebody's got to take the blame, right?
Yeah, Staley. And we just talked about yesterday how it's pretty expensive to move on from Staley. Chargers might not be able to do it. This might be their alternative.
Yeah, the Chargers, just as a team, likely aren't the team to make that splashy head coach hire that's going to cost a lot of money. It's a lot cheaper to replace an OC, even if you get a top-tier OC, than it is to get one of those high-level, big-name head coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Albert in here said, I heard Frank Reich might be the new Chargers OC.
That'd be cool. Frank Reich's a good coach. I've always liked him.
Yeah, that would be an interesting move. I wonder how how would the Chargers change if Frank Reich came in?
Well, there'd be one less Lombardi and one more Reich for sure for starts.
Yeah, that's definitely the most obvious here.
Mathematically speaking, I think they would probably go after. I think either way, they need to bring in somebody who can run the ball when the other team knows that you're going to run it, right? Dog Zeke Elliott all you want for his yards per carry, whatever. Like he can get a 3rd and 1 when you need a 3rd and 1. Jamal Williams can get a 3rd and 1 when you need a 3rd and 1. We saw this weekend with Joshua Kelly and Austin Eckler. They don't really have that guy. And for Frank Reich, he's going to want to have somebody who's kind of a pure runner. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them bring somebody in. And again, just another thing that wouldn't be good for Austin Eckler. So maybe in this situation with this uncertainty, if you're in a dynasty league, Austin Eckler is already at that age apex for running backs, kind of above it, right? He's like 27 years old. So maybe it's time to ship off old Austin. He got 127 targets this year, which is the same as Mike Evans. That's a
absurd.
Lot of targets.
That's absurd. Do you think whenever you say bring in a running back that can get those yards, are you talking in free agency through the draft? Are you thinking there's a chance they make there's a couple big names in free agency this year. We got Josh Jacobs. We got Saquon Barkley. Go down a tier. We've still got some decent names. We've got Kareem Hunt, Jamal Williams, some guys that have found success. Miles Sanders is a free agent running back. Are you expecting one of these names?
I'm expecting a complimentary back. So through the years, we've seen guys that only do one half of the job, right? LeGarrette Blount, Jordan Howard. There was a guy for the Washington that was now I forget his name, but they guys that are pretty much locked into just the early down work, like a Philip Lindsay type guy. I expect them, like a Jamal Williams, based on what we've seen him do this year, maybe a Donta Foreman, Boston Scott at the lower end, those type guys, like a complimentary back. There's no, in my opinion, if you have Austin Eckler, there's no reason to bring in Josh Jacobs. That's overdoing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna spend so much money at that position when you really don't need to. Then you end up with a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt situation where you're not even using Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And they could always try to address it through the draft with a third, fourth round pick here, right? Grab one of these incoming rookie running backs. We see teams do that a lot. Now it seems like those middle round running backs are actually finding value in their first year. Now that more and more teams are moving towards a committee approach instead of this one workhorse back approach, there's immediate opportunity for these rookie backs, especially if they fill a role that isn't already on their team, which the Chargers are clearly lacking.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of offensive coordinators being fired, did you see that? Who was the other guy who got fired? Did you see that Byron Leftwich got fired by the Buccaneers as well?
Yeah,
that stinks because I like Byron Leftwich. He seems like a really good guy, and I'll never forget the story with him in college. You guys have all seen that when he was at Marshall.
I'm not familiar with that story.
I think it was Leftwich. He played for Marshall, and in a big game, he broke his leg, right? And instead of coming out and bringing the backup in, what they did is they would put him in shotgun, and then and Tommy's confirming, yes, it was him, Leftwich. They put him in shotgun, and then they would snap on the ball, and he would throw it, and then the linemen would come over and like put their arms around him and help him limp down the field to where they were. And then they would put him in, he would call a play, they'd put him in shotgun, snap it, and he would throw it. So this guy like ran a drive with a broken leg with his team just like carrying him down the field. It was like epic moment.
That's absurd. That's epic is one way. That's wild. Yeah. I like
legendary.
Drive to do
it
that
really is. Yeah.
Is unbelievable.
And not to rain on that parade, my thought is always like, how big of a loser do you feel as a backup quarterback? Just on the sideline, like this guy.
He's so bad.
He's so bad. They're like, well,
the better option is the starter moves.
Like, Coach, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
They're just like, anybody else want to go in? The coach, put me in.
Yeah.
Just ignore him. Anybody?
Let's say, should we go with Dave or should we go with Byron with a mangled leg? One leg Byron or Dave? It's like, I made up Dave. I don't want to even name whoever the backup was, just to not hurt his feelings. But
it's like worse than getting picked last in kickball, right? Because you just weren't picked. Someone who wasn't even, someone who shouldn't have even been available to be picked. It's like you're at recess and they pick the kid who's homesick with the flu. And they're like, yeah, I'll take that kid on my team. Sorry.
That's like in my fantasy leagues where I like drop someone just to have the empty roster spot. And I'm just like, yeah, maybe I'll get somebody on waivers. But, not having you at all is better than having you. That's tough. But yeah, hopefully he lands somewhere. Seems like a really good guy. And I mean, he's only 43. So yeah.
Only 43. There was something that was brought up during the Manning cast that I want to bring up to you guys. Something that Peyton said that people are freaking out a little bit about. He said, I don't know if I ever made a halftime adjustment in my entire 18-year career. I think that's the biggest myth in football, the halftime adjustments. You go in, you use the restroom, you eat a couple oranges, and then the head coach says, all right, let's go. And people were losing their minds saying like, oh, yeah, well, if you're Peyton Manning, surely you don't need to make halftime adjustments, blah, 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 blah.
He's just sitting in the back of the locker room with like orange slice in his lips. Just like someone walks up and he just smiles. He's got orange skin behind there.
They hire someone who just like looks like the most stereotypical mom, like soccer mom. They just pull out like a Craigslist ad, like soccer mom needed for Peyton Manning's orange slices. And they just have her ready like, oh, you did so good out there. Have some orange slices. Got to stay hydrated.
Here's your juice box.
How I took it was halftime is 15 minutes. We make adjustments. We just don't make them at halftime. Like halftime is not the time where we're making those adjustments. We're going in there, we're using the restroom, we're grabbing some water, we're grabbing something to eat, and then we're back out there because it's done. It's over as soon as it starts. That's how I took it, but I saw other people taking it as adjustments are a myth, not that like halftime adjustments are a myth.
What does that mean though? Because like, of course, like I just always took that as like a reset. Like, all right, we're resetting. It's halftime. We're going in. The coaching staff is probably like, all right, what's our game plan going forward?
It's no
what
different.
are they imagining that they don't change anything at all?
I mean, the thing is, here's the reality is that you're making adjustments all the time. Every time they show the quarterback
Yeah,
on the sideline,
exactly.
while the defense is out there, they're over there with Tom Brady's snapping a Surface Pro over his leg, and they're, talking about coverages, and they're looking at pictures or doing whatever. And, that's usually where the adjustments are constantly being made. It's not like you go in there and you're like, all right, now that we have a chance to think, here's everything we did wrong for the whole.
We're gonna change what we're gonna stop throwing interceptions.
I wanted to bring this up 5 minutes into the first quarter, but adjustments can only be made at halftime.
Robert's rules.
Yeah. Now that we've had a chance to settle down and think, you know what I mean? Like, half the team, you come off the field every other drive. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it goes. And producer Keith says that's why he only won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, only won 2. What does that put him? Top 5 all time, right? Like, only 2.
Yeah, imagine what he could have done with halftime adjustments.
Yeah, what a shame. Yeah, if he had adjusted more, then maybe he would have won 3 like Troy Aikman.
Did you make a Robert's rules joke?
I did. I was joking that they had to follow Robert's rules on the sideline in order to bring up points about making the adjustments. Peyton Manning walks over to his head coach, like, Coach, out of order, and just slams the gavel down.
Motion to make an adjustment.
Motion denied.
Shit.
Yeah. So producer Keith says he has the video for that. Should we take a peek?
I thought that was the broken leg video, at which point I do not want that up.
No.
Oh, well, I don't think you see him breaking his leg. Put it up there. Let's see it.
No, don't do it.
I don't think you actually see him breaking his leg.
Don't you dare show a broken leg on the stream, Keith.
If it is not gruesome, I want to see it.
It's not gruesome. It's not gruesome at all. It's not gruesome.
Let's see it, Keith. Let's roll it.
You're getting fired if you're wrong.
There's some.
On Leftwich again on 2nd and 10. Seam route. He's got Darius Watts inside the 35 and all the way down to the Akron 33-yard line.
Now look at this. The offensive linemen are carrying him down. I think this is the first. I have not seen that.
Never. That's amazing.
Help your homeboys out. And Darius Watts, what do we say? Keep them short. No big plays. Well, D. Watts comes back and makes up for that touchdown he didn't get in the end zone.
An absolute Herculean effort from Byron Leftwich.
Okay, so it's Big Ben his last couple of years, but with an arm. Like a complete lack of mobility, just pure pocket passer. But he's actually got an arm.
Villanueva and like the other linemen in Pittsburgh just carrying Big Ben.
That is wild that they put him out there, and then to the point where like he truly couldn't walk. They carried his ass down the field.
I remember being more of a limp, not like a full-on carry. They had him.
I like that. He was like, "Whoop."
He was riding style, baby.
But you're right. Imagine being the backup quarterback as you watch 2 other players lift your quarterback into the air and carry him down the field.
Right.
But
I'd be on the sideline going to the backup lineman. I'd be like, carry me around. Carry me to my room.
Gets the big over pads jacket that they wear.
Yeah,
he just gets that on, and then he's like,
they score the touchdown, and then they look to the sideline, and he's being held up by the alignment, and he's like, yeah.
I have put that on my eternal wish list to my girlfriend. The Christmas gift or birthday gift or whatever is one of those big sideline capes that they wear with the no sleeves, just the big old capes with like, I want one so bad. They look so cozy. But who knows where to get one? I've Googled it before and haven't been able to find them. I have no idea where to get one.
And you're going to wear it on like one of the 2 cold days that you guys have a year down there?
Yeah, it was like 82 degrees here yesterday.
You guys get that one like dusting of snow that stops all traffic for like 2 days, and Simon's just outside in his coat like
I was ready for this.
Swimming in it.
Oh, it looks like you can buy them, and they're only $140.
What?
I'm gonna have one of these by tomorrow.
That's on your eternal wish list, and Leanne's never gotten it for you?
Yeah.
For 140?
I don't think she ever looked it up, dude.
Hey, there's other items on my eternal wish list.
I love, dude. At M.
I know why I'm trying to drag Leanne.
At mjackets.com, the picture of see if you can guess which quarterback is wearing this. I'll give you 2 hints. He's retired and he's a bit of a meme.
Peyton Manning.
No.
I was thinking
Eli Manning.
No. This guy there are many memes of this player.
Lamas.
Here's another hint. A lot of the memes involve a cigarette.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler.
Smoking Jay is the guy in the picture.
Ripping cigs. Yeah. Every time. Ripping cigs outside the Denny's.
Do you guys know where that originated, that story? The Jay Cutler smoking butt story?
Wasn't it? Oh, no. I was thinking of Blake Bortles, who was saying if he wasn't a quarterback, he'd probably be ripping cigs on a construction site. That was Blake Bortles, right? Like he said, if I wasn't a quarterback, I'd probably be working in construction, ripping cigs out there. I forget what it was for Jay Cutler.
The story originated with Jay Cutler. It was this guy told the story. I think it was a comedian, but he was at a bar in Chicago and he went in the bathroom and he sees friggin' Jay Cutler there at the urinal taking a piss and he's smoking a butt, dude. Like you can't smoke cigarettes during the whole entirety of his career, you can't smoke cigarettes inside a bar. So he's sitting there smoking a cigarette and this guy goes to Jay Cutler and he's like, "Oh, dude, Jay Cutler, like you went to Purdue. I went to Purdue." And while Jay Cutler is taking a piss, smoking a butt, he leans his head back and goes, "Don't care." And that's where the Smoking Jay story came from. Butt hanging out of the corner of his mouth.
Yeah.
I like to imagine he was hands free as well.
Yeah.
Like he just had his hands by his side and leaned forward a little bit. Like he's not holding on to anything. He
starts the Bernie.
Exactly. He starts waving it around a little.
I don't even think the Bernie was a thing then.
And it's a trough urinal as well, for sure, without a doubt.
That was actually also the origination of the Bernie.
He's peeing 15 feet back.
Don't care.
Why was that? Like, I feel like when I was younger, it was a contest. It was like, how far can I stand back?
How big of a mess can I make?
Still kind of is. So it's not all.
Coop goes, my record's
Hey,
14 feet.
Here's the thing about that. See how much of the urinal cake thing you can pee away. Oh, there's nothing better than when there's ice in the urinal, right? That's the best.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, Maria?
My dad's friend growing up had an invention idea that I just realized I'm gonna save for a later segment here that we've got coming up today. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna add it in there to make sure I do not forget it.
Well, speaking of offensive coordinators being fired, it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, one offensive coordinator who reportedly had the opportunity to interview with some teams could have potentially left. The Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who was a favorite for jobs like the Colts, has informed them that he's going to stay with the team and he's going to remain as the offensive coordinator for the Lions. How do you boys feel about that?
Yeehaw! I think we are seeing nothing but evidence that this winning culture thing that they're pushing there in Detroit is actually real. That Dan Campbell is actually establishing a winning culture. And I feel like people were memeing it all year. But now you've got this report that the offensive coordinator, who could likely be a top candidate for some of these head coaching jobs, he's going to stay by his own choice. He's not even interviewing with the Panthers anymore, letting them know, I don't want this interview. I'm staying here with Detroit. And then on top of that, to tie it in here, you've got players, multiple players who have reached out to Detroit and let them know they'd be willing to take less money this coming year to stay on the team. John Kaminsky, Alex Anzalone, and Isaiah Buggs have all let the Lions know they'd be willing to take a little less to stay with the team. So you got those three players reaching out to the team to let them know that. The offensive coordinator turning down head coaching interview positions to stay with the team. You freaking did it, Dan Campbell. You built a winning culture. Now you just got to win. They're going to the playoffs.
The idea that they have to go to the zoo, to the Lions exhibit, to tell them whenever they're gonna what they want to do with their job. Guys, I'm staying.
Or just watch an MGM movie, and during that one little bit at the beginning, they scream it at the screen.
Yeah.
I'll take those money to.
That's rewind.
We gotta watch the entire thing.
Alex Anzalone, he's an interesting cat, man, because he almost didn't make the team this time around. And now he's willing to take a pay cut to come back. I also saw an interesting thing from him that he says he's going to be a ref when he's done. Like, are there a lot of NFL players that I can't? So we're old enough that players that we watch and stuff growing up are becoming coaches themselves, like Byron Leftwich and Kevin O'Connell. I don't know of any. Sorry, dude. I don't know if any time is ever creeping by, Simon. So I don't know if any.
Thanks.
I don't know if any refs though. Do you know offhand any refs that were players?
I don't know a single ref.
Yeah.
You don't know Carl Cheffers?
Jonathan. Jonathan Typerson.
Jonathan.
Oh, I totally forgot about Typerson.
He played at Central
Yale.
Mississippi Community.
Yeah.
JUCO won a national title there, then went on, transferred to Ole Miss. Didn't win a national title there. Got drafted by the Oilers. Played a couple years there.
I think he still has a few NCAA records.
Does he?
Fastest long snap, strongest long snap,
biggest long snap.
Yeah, biggest worst long snap. That the 70-yard safety, which was, but still it's a record.
Tommy's saying those guys do not get paid well. I've heard that, but I've also heard it's a second job, almost more of a hobby for a lot of these referees. So they're incredibly successful in other areas, and this is like a second job that they do. It's like businessmen and lawyers and stuff like that who have this as a second career.
Yeah, there was one of them that
they get a ton of perks. They get like flown out on like private planes to every game.
Front row.
I remember reading a whole article about how like I thought they were paid well, but it's been a while since I read that article. But I just remember reading about how they get a ton of perks.
Yeah, dude, there was one that they mentioned the other day where they were like, he's a genius aerospace engineer, software engineer, and I was like, this guy comes out here on Sundays just to get like berated on Twitter by 13-year-olds. Like, the guy's literally a genius, and he subjects himself to this.
Then he goes to work on Monday and he gets yelled at by 13-year-old coders and hoodies.
Yeah, it reminds me of a video I saw. It was a little boy, like 7 or 8, watching the Cowboys game, and it was a clip where Troy Aikman said, like, oh, they should just take the points here. They should just take 3. Don't go for it. Cowboys went for it, got the touchdown, and this little kid just screams at the TV, "That's why you're in the booth, Troy, and not on the sideline making the calls. We got 7, baby." And this is a 7-year-old screaming at Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman in the booth saying, "That's why you're in the booth." It's 100%.
I got a list.
Children yelling at you.
I got a list here of 6 NFL officials' day jobs, and I recognize every name on this list for officials. So there's some pretty big names on it. You guys want to hear some of them?
Let's hear it.
Walt, or actually, let's play guess the day job. Walt Coleman.
Walt Coleman works in big man
investment.
Walt Coleman is a dairy farmer, specifically for Coleman Dairy in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Well, if you don't know what mayonnaise is made out of, I was pretty close.
All right. Ed Hockley had a job. Ed Hockley had a job that you guys mentioned before. This job has been mentioned. What job does Ed Hockley have?
Investment banker.
Fluffer.
He's a lawyer, as Simon mentioned. He of Jones, Skelton, and Hockley.
That sounds
God, imagine showing up to court and Ed Hockley shows up in his tight ass shirt.
Dude, I'd be like, if I was
my defendant is not guilty.
The judge calls him, Your Honor.
If he walked in, I'd be like, we're gonna settle.
You're buffing.
Yeah.
We're gonna settle here.
We'll take the L.
Gene Steratore, who now also works on the broadcast, to come in.
CBS, right?
Yeah, he's Gene Steratore and Dean Blandino. Their jobs are to come in and defend the refs no matter what. Right? That's like
they're hired stooges by the NFL to just come in and make the outrage a little less.
Now we're gonna have Dean Blandino come in and explain why the referees at least have a pretty good hunch here.
Yeah.
What do you think Gene Steratore does?
Gene Steratore.
He founded his own business.
Yes, and the business he founded is a healthcare software company.
Would you say investment banker again, Joe?
I said investment bank was the business he started.
That's smart. But it actually is a Steratore sanitary supply company, which I do not know what they do.
Probably
janitorial products is the sanitary supplies.
So like Pine Sol, but in a big jug and smells a little weird.
How many like over under 8 poop puns a day? How many is Gene Steratore making with a business like that?
Dude,
being like the sanitation guy.
Right. Like his business is in sanitation.
Knowing just after watching Gene Steratore being a ref and on TV, I would say 0. He's a very serious man.
It's probably like the time I interviewed with Kimberly Clark, and the guy who interviewed me, ex-Marine, wildly serious, not a sense of humor in him at all. And he's telling me about his career, and he's like, yeah, when I first started at Kimberly Clark, I was in the pull-ups division, working in that plant. Eventually I moved on to the Kotex division, running that plant, and very seriously telling me about his career progression from diapers to tampons without like any recognition that maybe that's a little funny. Know what I mean? Like you, like you're very serious and you're sitting here and like your very serious business is in diapers and tampons. And he just was, he didn't even crack a smile. I'm like giggling a little bit, not in a rude way, but just like, hey, pull-ups engineer, like, like you're a tampon engineer, but he wasn't having it. He didn't think it was funny. He was very serious about his pull-ups.
Mike Carey. Mike Carey might be the most interesting one.
Cowboy.
So cool.
Clown.
I'm surprised you didn't guess investment banker, JL. That would be hilarious if this was the one after you guessed that.
Don't be ridiculous.
So Mike Carey is an inventor. Co-founded.
That's what you say when you're 5. This is a dude who has had money since the day he was born. If your job title is inventor, know what I mean? That's someone who said they were going to be an inventor when they were 5, and then they had $1 million handed to him the second they graduated high school, and he's like, "Yes, I am an inventor."
What do you want to be?
He's just waiting the second somebody asks him, "What do you invent?" And he goes, "I'm glad you asked."
They're like,
pulls out some crazy.
Like, what are you going to be? I'm going to be an inventor and an NFL ref. And everyone's like, okay, I want to be president and an astronaut. And then he went out and did both. You know?
Then he pulls out an oven mitt with an iPad duct taped to the back of it. And he's like, it's so you can take things out of the oven and watch Bluey at the same time.
Whoa. That's actually kind of dope, dude.
That's actually a really good idea.
So he owns Cirrus Innovations. He and his wife have invented multiple different products in skiing and snowboarding, including gloves, face protection, other cold weather accessories.
Gloves.
That's what I was thinking.
One of the things that I've seen.
No wonder they're rich.
He invented gloves. One of the things that I've seen that he has invented that a buddy of mine actually owns is he invented these things called cat tracks, which you strap them over your boots. Cat track. Meow. You strap them over your. We've all seen the commercial.
We should pitch that to him.
Yeah, you strap them over your ski or snowboard boots, and they're like these like extra traction so that you can walk in your ski boots without slipping. My buddy
and they let out a little meow every step you take.
Yeah, when you walk, they go
meow meow.
So you've seen them.
You step too hard, it goes wow.
Soft touch.
So you have seen them.
Yeah, we're intimately familiar with this.
You both own bears.
Very cool.
Another fruit.
One of my buddies who's into skiing had something similar to that blew my mind. They're like that, but they go on your skis. So if you wanted to ski up a mountain, you could do that. And I was like, hey man, like that accomplishes the goal of skiing up a mountain, but why is your goal to ski up a mountain? You know what I mean? Like it seems like you've invented a problem and then a solution to it, because there's a ski lift right there.
Because they said I couldn't.
And he's like, yeah, sometimes before the ski lift opens, we'll ski up the mountain and then ski down for fun. It's like, yeah, I'm waiting until the ski lift opens.
No, dude. Yeah. Sometimes before the ski lift opens, I get breakfast, but I don't think I've ever been there before the ski lift opens.
Sometimes before the ski lift opens, I get drunk, but I don't think I've ever been there before the ski lift opens.
Exactly.
You guys ever thought about falling off a ski lift?
Yeah.
Every single time.
Every single time I'm on a ski lift, I think about falling off a ski lift. I think the whole experience is wildly irresponsible. Ski resorts should require a lot more than just signing my name on one line saying like, I'll be safe. Like there's no class. They just hand you skis and there's this like spinning death trap that will launch you. It has no mercy. And then they'll put you at the top of a mountain with blades on your feet and no way of knowing how to stop.
And you got a small window to get off that bad boy. And nobody is acting like it's weird. Everybody's acting like everything is normal.
And then you get off and you fall face plant and everyone looks around and everyone else is fine.
We used to jump off them and like at increasingly high heights. But back when we were too young to realize how badly you get hurt doing that. And like it's something about just being like,
Coop and his buddies like carrying him down like Byron Leftwich down the slope.
I did actually break my arm at the top of a ski slope once and have to snowboard down, but it's like you would never jump off a 2-story building, but all of a sudden it's like, oh well, there's a little snow down there, so we're fine.
I see Tim in here said, I mean, they have ski lessons, yes, but they are not required.
You're a coward.
You can just sign up and they'll hand you a pair of skis. You hand them $30, they hand you some skis, and the entire place is open to you. They don't check your credentials for the black diamonds. They don't even check your credentials before you get on the ski lift. You could accidentally do a black diamond if you're not careful.
Yeah, but what you're not accounting for, Tim, is my absolute unbridled and unearned confidence in my ability on skis.
Naturally.
We are white men. So I'm pretty confident in just about everything I've never done before.
Everything I've never done.
I could do that.
To the point where I give advice on it, actually, also. I may have never skied. I may not be good at golf, but I
Pizza. That's all I know about
That's
skiing.
the whole thing.
So that's it.
So we'll wrap this up. Jerome Boger is an underwriter for Allstate Insurance. And then Pete Morelli.
Sounds like a very ordinary job.
not an inventor.
Pete Morelli is a principal at St. Mary's High School in Stockton, California.
No, he's not. There is not a principal that is an NFL referee. He's too busy.
You know he's out there recess with the whistle. Off the monkey bars.
5-yard penalty. He just starts
100%.
kicking kids out of school.
He's
There's
definitely
flags in the hallway.
He's definitely getting
Flags everywhere.
You're walking down the hallway and they're just flying by you as you walk through the parade and barrage of yellow flags.
Sounds like fun.
Dude, they make a decent amount of money. They're making like a $250,000 a year.
Yeah, I think we were wrong. We were wrong on
I
that.
think you got to pay those guys, man, because I like the idea that they're like going out and getting people that are already rich, because otherwise there could be some incentive to rig some of these games. You know what I mean?
Did you guys ever read 8 Men Out, the book about the fixing of the White Sox World Series?
No.
It's one of the best sports books I've ever read in my life. If you guys are looking for a good cheating scandal sports book, 8 Men Out, phenomenal. Check it out. It's so good.
There's a movie about it too, with
Is there?
Cheating sports book.
John Cusack and Charlie Sheen.
Wow, look at that combo.
Yeah, so it's got to be pretty bad if we've never heard of it.
I don't know. Everything Charlie Sheen touches is gold.
Awesome.
2.5 Men.
How many
So good.
baseball movies is he in?
He's trying to cast type himself as a baseball guy, but it just doesn't work.
Nobody will believe it.
No one sees him as a baseball guy, but over and over again, he's only accepting baseball movie roles.
Stop.
Wow, he played Shoeless Joe Jackson. No, I'm kidding.
I was
That was somebody.
no, he did not play Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I just wanted to see what you would say. Yeah, no, he did not. Dude. I love old timey baseball names. They're always so ridiculous, you know. Like it's never just like John. It's always like Smudge Peterson. Billy the Kid Williams, right? And it's like that's his real name.
Middle name the kid.
Yeah.
Smudge Peterson.
Smudge Peterson.
I don't think that's a real one, but it could be. That's the thing. That's how ridiculous the old timey baseball names are.
Sounds great.
Oil Can Boyd. That's a real one.
Saw a stat yesterday tweeted out by Tommy on Twitter, Tommy G105, saying since 1990, the New York Giants are an NFL best 6-0 against the number 1 seeds in the playoffs. So since 1990, the New York Giants have not lost to a number 1 seed in the playoffs. 6-0. They're going in and they're playing a number 1 seed this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles, an in-division game. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but JL, does this lean your opinion any way or another? Everyone knows future events are always affected by independent past events.
It's true, especially when those when the Giants teams were nearly completely different between instances here.
But they did have the same name and colors.
That's
why if you're at the casino and you're playing roulette and black comes up 3 times, you know that red is due. That's a fact.
It's got to be. That's how math works.
Yep. It's due.
What'd you ask me?
Does this make you any more confident in the Giants' chances to beat the Eagles?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. We all have our feelings about like different teams. My feeling about the Giants, like their organization in the back of my mind has always been like, okay team that somehow wins sometimes.
That makes sense coming
Like,
from
even
someone
when-
who grew up in that era of Patriots.
Yeah, even if they
just wrecked.
Even when they won 2 Super Bowls, I was like, is this organization actually good? You know, like 9-win team, Eli Manning bigger picking brother, whatever.
I get what you're saying. I think how I view it is almost like the default team. Like the New York Giants are the default champions. Yeah. Like if no one else is stepping up, if there's not something else going on, like we got the Giants. They got the red, white, and blue colors. They're never like super showy out there. And sometimes they come in and they win one when nothing else is going on. Like they'll pull a win out. But they're the default. You turn on the Xbox, you start a campaign with a new team. It's the Giants. It's the red, white, and blue Giants.
That identity matches with the city though, or like the location. It's like it does feel like that, Simon. And it almost, and Coop, I think you're right here. It almost feels like the Giants organization is like fluky. And maybe this is just the quarterbacks, but they feel almost like this like submissive team. And it's New York. But they should be the most obnoxious.
They are a prestigious organization. Well, the thing is that you would think that they would be the Yankees, but there already is a Yankees in football. That's the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys are the Yankees of like, we're the best. We don't know. We're not quite sure why, but we're America. And, and because of that branding, they have fans all over the place that are just like, yeah, that's what I want right there. I want some of that. I want to be part of the show, whereas like the Giants are just like prestigious organization. Like coaches all want to like, why is that the dream job of so many coaches? The Giants.
It's the default team.
It is.
It's the default NFL team. The Cowboys may be America's team, but I think the Giants are the NFL's team. Like they are the default NFL team.
I was like doing the dishes the other day, and Maria said something about America's team. I'm like, technically, they're all America's team. And she just rolled her eyes and walked away.
That's true, dude. And I mean, you can't say that in hockey and baseball and basketball.
You can. North America.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's fair.
We got you. America's team.
America. Yeah. Imagine the Blue Jays started saying, we're America's team. North America.
I have heard that that's like a thing. Like sometimes in South American countries or in Canada, if you say, not so much in Canada, but if you say American, people say, yeah, me too. Like South American, Central American, North American. Like it's not an identity that's unique to the United States of America. There are the Americas. They exist out there. So maybe the Raptors pick that as their next thing to stand on.
They should start calling themselves North America's team. That's hilarious, dude.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Did you guys see CJ Stroud declared for the draft?
I did. Expected and exciting. This is when it starts. We're going to start seeing all of the opinions and talking heads coming out with this guy will be a bust. This guy will be the next superstar in the NFL. And it's time for us to start trying to form our own opinions on these guys. I'm excited. You think he's going 1 overall?
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah, I think that there's a trade in place to get him onto a team. I think the Bears should get a decent haul, which would be good for them. They need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love watching college football fans wrestle with the NIL and whether they like it or not. And it goes back and forth with every single topic. Like I just saw the other day somebody being like, when Blake Corum said he was coming back to Michigan, he's like, oh, that's the NIL. They're going to have to start paying these running backs if they don't want them to stay college ball. You know what I mean? And then the very next sentence is like, NIL's ruined the league. It's like,
here's where I stand on the NIL. Yeah, I think it probably is bad for college football, but I also think that doesn't matter. Like, I think it makes the game worse, and that is completely irrelevant to the conversation because it's unfair to exploit the work of these college athletes. They need to get paid. There's ways they can structure this better so that it's less detrimental to the game, but the conversation of whether or not this is good for college football is irrelevant because whether or not this is good for the athletes takes complete and total precedent over the quality of the sport. So if your argument is it's bad for the game, I don't care. That argument is completely pushed to the side for me because we talk about the players first and what's fair for them in my mind.
I think that's right.
And I think it like that argument ignores the other issues with the game. There are other issues with the game that you could make it more competitive that we're ignoring here. And so to then just be like, all right, well, let's just take that off the back of the athletes is, I think, the point you're trying to make here, Simon.
Yeah, 100%. And Dustin in here saying NIL is great for other sport athletes as well. Football might get the shaft a little, but it's massive for other athletes. Yeah, these decisions got to be made with the athletes in mind first, the game in mind second. It's about the athletes. Athletes first is the push of this.
College is a
with all these
scam.
rules. It is a scam. It's such a scam. It can be. You know what? Let's not get on an anti-college tirade because it does have value.
Don't get me started.
You guys wouldn't even know each other if it wasn't for college.
I know.
Sure.
I loved my college experience. I loved every
You
single
don't know
thing
that.
about it.
So it was worth every penny.
Jill and I
sensed
would have
each
met
other.
on OkCupid or something probably.
We would have found each
We
other.
both just would have started wandering, not knowing where we're going. Then eventually would have met up on the side of a road in Ohio.
I would have just started yelling letters. K, R,
Oh, that's not right.
J,
Simon,
L. And then
Simon?
finally when that combo comes
Huh?
out, he's like,
Like a little
he
meerkat.
comes down like Simon would be eating a peanut butter wrap and he'd be like, this reminds me of someone, but I don't know who.
I'd be eating one of those Nature Valley, the crunchy Nature Valley bars. So it'd just be raining granola all over Simon.
and Tommy says, think about how much better your lives could have been if we
I
never
know.
met each other. Also,
Very
Joey
true.
is saying there, education should be a snuff that your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving.
Tommy, my life would definitely be different. I wouldn't have found a tomato seed in my keyboard this morning if I had never met you. So there's that.
Guys, coming up, we are going to answer some questions from Reddit. Then we gotta sell some stuff. We're gonna play a game called Sell Me This Pen. We've got a new game coming up called Here's the Pitch. And then we're going to talk some trade values a little bit later today as well. JL, is Trade Daddy joining us to talk trade values, or are we just using Trade Daddy's charts?
We're just using his charts today. Unfortunately, Trade Daddy is on the road.
Trade Daddy on the road. Daddy's on a business trip, but
Business trip. He's going to bring us back some gifts.
we're going to throw a trade party while Daddy's out of town. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
The Baltimore Ravens and linebacker Roquan Smith have agreed to a record 5-year deal worth $100 million.
The biggest thing I saw from this wasn't even excitement from Ravens fans. It was, oh, shoot. If we're signing him to this big of a deal, how the hell are we going to sign Lamar to the kind of deal that he wants, is the general reaction I saw from Ravens fans. So the Ravens fans, and myself included, who thought, of course, they're going to re-sign him. 100% he's getting that deal done. This just crept in that little bit of doubt. Like, that is going to be an insane amount of their cap tied up in 2 players if they do sign Lamar.
Here's an interesting wrinkle to this is that Lamar Jackson famously does not want to use an agent. His mother is his manager, acting as his agent, so technically not really using a real agent. And Roquan Smith did not use an agent here. So the Ravens at least proved just now it's not the fact that he doesn't have a real agent that's holding this deal, because they just signed a monster contract with a guy that represented himself.
It's baffling as a Ravens fan. Just looking at this as an outsider looking in. Why are they having so much trouble signing Lamar Jackson? You're gonna have to pay him a top 5 contract or give him a top 5 contract in the position. And then on top of that, like, you're either waiting for him to get injured or to like get one over on him, which both of those don't really help you in the long run. So it's baffling to me that this is still an issue.
I'm telling you right now, I already said this. Top quarterbacks get $45 to $50 million a year. He's not using an agent, so he's saving that money there. Why don't you just take the 5% you would pay an agent, take the top money, 45, 50 million, whatever it is, subtract that, $2 to $3 million a year from the total. Boom, there you go. Done deal. I just negotiated the whole thing.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Hey, oi, hey. What's
Hey,
up,
hey.
everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
From the beans.
It's in the freaking beans.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a confession here right now. I always tell my girlfriend there's nothing I would change about her. But there is one thing.
Her
And it's her
beans?
willingness to just microwave a can of baked beans and eat it for dinner. Like that is the one and only thing.
Why is she microwaving a can? That can't.
Well, I
be
mean,
good.
she takes it out of the can. She puts the beans into a container and then microwaves them. But
your microwave is just like a burned mess.
I'll come out of the bedroom and she'll just be sitting there with a bowl of baked beans. She's like, "It's dinner."
Oh, I thought for a second that you wanted to change. I thought for a second that you wanted to change it so that she would start doing that.
Oh. My one problem.
Like,
I just doesn't microwave her beans.
Here's the one problem.
She won't do it. She just won't microwave a can of baked beans.
I wish she would start. I swear, I thought that's what you were saying. I was like, that's weird.
I do have a friend that broke up with his girlfriend because he said they moved in together and he was like, all she eats is beans. She's like, she doesn't even cook them. Like every night for dinner, it's just beans. And I'm like, hey, we want to make something to go with this. And that wasn't the only reason, but I remember when he was talking to me about it, that was a contributing factor, was the beans only for dinner. And I was like, hey man, maybe you're behind on your bean game because beans are delicious, but baked beans, that's where I draw the line.
I think that's fair.
That's fair. Guys, we're going to get into a game we call We Answer Reddit. Reddit has some questions for us. We got to answer them. Before we get into that, though, I did want to give everyone an update. We have an NFL playoff challenge here at BSN. We started one last week, but if your team did not do so well in week one or you missed the action in week one, you can still get in there. There's a new contest starting this week, sponsored by Lucra. You can click on the link in the app right here. Go to bettersports.com to register and set your new lineup. You'll compete against the hosts here and the community, and the top scorer is going to win an autographed NFL jersey. So from this week's contest, you're going to win a jersey. If you win the one that started last week, you're going to get that autographed helmet plus $500. Get in there now and make those new lineups. I might need to make a new one just because of who I picked as my kicker.
Oh, no. Who'd you pick?
I have Brett Maher as my kicker in the BSN playoff challenge. Luckily, not penalized for missing kicks. But boy, could he have had a lot more points for me. I just got 1 point from him in that game. With all the kicks that dude attempted, I should have gotten a little bit more out of Brett. But at least we did get the report the Cowboys are sticking with him. They're rolling through it. They confirmed they're not moving on from Brett Maher after that.
That's too much work.
Nah, he's still here.
I figured. I saw a little side report that maybe more of a rumor. It was on Pro Football Talk, but the league did send out a memo to all the teams and the refs basically saying, hey, we've got film that some people are putting down like a little thing, maybe even the size of like a coin, and putting the ball on top of it. And they're like, that's not allowed. So just keep in mind, we're going to be looking for that this week. And then all of a sudden, Brett Maher comes out and misses all his extra points. I don't know. I don't want to point any fingers, but Pro Football Talk already did point those fingers. So I'm willing to bring it up.
What was the finger pointed? I missed it.
The league sent out a memo to all the teams and the refs saying that somebody brought it to their attention with video evidence that certain teams, not just one, but it seemed like multiple teams, where the holders were coming out and putting something on the ground, whether it was like a little, they said it could have been even the size of like a coin, that they're placing the ball on top of that, which is not allowed, so that they would be watching for that this week. And then in that, as part of that article, they didn't want to say definitively that it was happening, but they mentioned all of a sudden the Cowboys kicker missed 4 extra points in a row. So something to think about.
Weird. I saw another weird report that the punter for the Cowboys all season before he punts has been taking a piece of white grass from the field and using it to line up his kick. And they told him in that game against the Buccaneers, after the second point after attempt that was missed, so after that second touchdown, they told the punter that he couldn't do that anymore, that he wasn't allowed to use a piece of white grass, pull it from the field.
Use the green grass.
Isn't that weird?
Like, you have to use the green grass. Well, like, why can't, like, what's stopping him from, I mean, like, these guys have like towels, all this stuff. Like, what's stopping him from, like, you know, holding up his towel or holding up something else? You know what I mean? Like a mouth guard or whatever.
Maybe he learned the secret. Maybe it's the white grass that the NFL doesn't want you using it. Yeah, it whispers.
Right through the goalpost.
Your job is to punt. That means kick it with your foot really far. Just yeah, thanks. Sorry about that. Can you imagine a punter gets snapped the ball and it's not a fake? They just forget and they just throw it as far as they can.
Sorry, I forgot for a minute.
As hard as they can down the field.
I thought it was playing Madden.
Oops. Whoopsies.
Mobby. All right, you guys ready to get into some We Answer Reddit?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. They're great. All right. Here's our first question from Reddit. The people of Reddit, they need our help.
We're here for you.
I got you.
You get $1,000 per person you annoy. What is the fastest way you can become a billionaire?
I think I figured out that just yesterday with the Daniel Jones tweet that I sent out. Because apparently I annoyed every single Giants fan on the planet. After our show, I'm not sure if you saw the tweet I sent out, but after our show, I sent out this tweet. Daniel Jones touchdown pass totals last 3 seasons. 2020, 11. And then in parentheses, I said bust. 2021, 10 TDs, parentheses, bust. 2022, 15 TDs. In parentheses, I said franchise quarterback. And quite a few Giants fans had something to say, both on my timeline and in my DM. So I think I get
wrecked.
If every person you annoyed yesterday, you made $1,000, I would be rich. Because this tweet was seen by 373,000 people, and at least 370 of them were Giants fans who were just searching Daniel Jones's name, looking for a reason to become angry, and they found it.
Here's how you do it. And it's a big investment, but it's going to pay back. I just know it. You buy all of the ad space for the first commercial break at the Super Bowl. We're talking 4 commercials in a row. You want all of it in a row. So everyone's watching. It's the first commercial break. So everyone who's watching for the commercials is still watching as well. They're looking at their TV. The part I left out is before this, you build a career in advertising at Burger King. And then during that first commercial break, Whopper, 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 Whopper. And then that commercial ends. It fades back in. Whopper, 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 Whopper. Just over and over and over again. And maybe you don't get them with the first one. But on that third, Whopper, 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 everyone who watched that is going to be annoyed. You are going to get millions and millions of people annoyed at once.
Do they have to stay annoyed? Because my rule on comedy with stuff like that is that I would be annoyed at the first one and the second one. But I think by the third one, I would start thinking it's kind of funny.
I imagine it triggers at the moment of annoyance. Like someone gets annoyed, $1,000 deposited into your bank account.
Ooh, that's nice then. Because you can get everybody. But for me, I think like you would get me the first 3 times it played, but the 4th time it played, you wouldn't get me because at that point, I'd think it's hilarious.
And sometimes context for that commercial matters too. Like, it's the worst. That will be like a horrible injury on the screen. This happened recently, and they cut from the most somber moment that the NFL has experienced in the last.
We're gonna go to break.
Exactly, they cut from the most somber moment the NFL has seen in the last 30 years. Everyone's quiet. Everyone's almost in tears. Whopper, whop, like just screaming.
Stop, hey, Simon, stop doing that.
See, I just earned $1,000.
You earned $1,000, dude. Actually, you earned 4,000 because I was annoyed every time you did it. But this time, you earned 2,000 because I was extra annoyed. Do not do that again.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I will come from any part of my house to come mute the TV. Comes on. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is catchy," and then the second time, I was like, "Nope, this is done."
Then you hear their chicken one. Chicken, chicken, chicken. It's just the same thing. I think the people from Burger King got this challenge is what happened. Like this is their career.
I think I'm gonna hop in my car. I'm gonna get on 95. I'm gonna head north to New York, and I'm gonna annoy everybody on the way up there. Just weaving in and out of traffic, cutting people off. Maybe even, you know what? I'm probably gonna even cause a minor traffic jam. Because then I'm really gonna get people. Maybe like what's that tunnel that goes into New York?
The Lincoln Tunnel.
The Lincoln Tunnel. I'm gonna get into the Lincoln Tunnel and I'm just gonna park.
Well, that's scary.
So
and then,
basically
like
you'll just be one of those dudes like that happens every other day. Somebody just does that, not even on purpose. They're just doing something stupid.
Exactly. And then I'm gonna go to Times Square. I'm gonna go to all the people there. I'm just gonna tabletop them all.
That's more than annoyance.
You need
That's
somebody else. You need somebody else.
Not just the question.
You get $1,000 every time you assault someone. What's the fastest way you're going to do that?
True or false? It's annoying to be assaulted.
Mark Wahlberg.
I mean, yeah, I guess that would fall into the annoying category.
$1,000, baby.
But you need somebody else. You need somebody else with you to tabletop. You
That's true.
Can't tabletop.
I'm splitting it, Simon. We're going up.
Now, speaking of your first one, have you guys
each?
Have you guys ever seen someone actually drive like they have nothing to lose, like they're in a car chase?
Yeah, I live in the DMV. It's every day.
I saw that in driving home from New York to Boston. I saw somebody actually like go left, like drive, smash off somebody's window, go left, bounce into the barrier, rip all the way over, like they were in a car chase. It was kind of wild.
That's insane.
Yeah,
my brother got hit by a drunk driver and chased him home. Chased the guy home to his house. So he got hit and then he just kept going. So my brother's sitting there driving his like Lexus. It's all like bumpers off and everything. Just trying to follow this dude.
Did he call the cops?
He did.
Did they get him? Did
he is the cops?
I don't think so. I think because he got into his house, it was like home safe, home base.
Is that the rule?
That's
the
rule.
You can break whatever law, but if you get home, then you're safe.
They couldn't prove that he drank before he went in his home. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, he could have gone in there and just crushed beers.
But it's still a hit and run.
Yeah, it's still a hit and run.
Yeah, if you could prove that it was him, yeah.
Yeah. Maria in here said wear really, really squeaky shoes and walk around somewhere populated. Oh God, that would drive me crazy. And Tim said, I want to enjoy every grand I get. I crop test everywhere I go to start. Every elevator in New York City is a gold mine. Then I buy billboards across major cities and make them look like actual directions.
Get off here for the museum, and it's just like some random truck stop.
You start putting up like official signs in New York City that say Empire State Building with an arrow, and it's just pointing the wrong. It just sends people in a circle around like 4 or 5 blocks.
That would work.
That would do it. Get the job done. All right, guys, well done. I think we annoyed a whole lot of people with that one.
Quite a few.
The next question Reddit has for us.
God,
at what point?
It's so hard not to scream Whopper now. Like I was holding it in with,
like
I'm sitting here, like it's like
Whopper.
Look what you've done. Oh. Look what you've done.
YouTube's gonna come after us. Burger King's gonna be like, what did you just say?
Joe, you said YouTube, but as you said it, Maria said send a U2 album to everybody's iPhone. So what I heard you say was U2 is going to come after us, as if they're responsible for the Whopper song. Oh, you heard that new U2 song? Whopper.
Maria, that hits too close to the heart. That U2 album on my iPhone, I actually went into, I don't even use Apple Music or any of that stuff. I went into Apple Music and I bought a song just because whenever I'd plug my phone into my car, it would start playing U2. And I was just like, I'm done with this. So I went in and I bought Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. And
no.
Yeah. So now when I plug my phone in my car, if it does do that thing where it accidentally just starts playing whatever's on my phone, it starts playing that, which is very soft intro. And sometimes I listen to the whole song.
That song brings back the weirdest childhood memories, like positive, but also much too intense for a 5 or 6 year old. Or like before the day of the state wrestling tournament, when I was like 5, 6, 7, they would lay us all down on the wrestling mats in the room. Only time we were ever allowed to lay on our backs, and we'd lay on our backs and they turn off all the lights. And I'm 6 years old, okay, going to the state wrestling tournament. And my coach is walking around the room with that song playing, starts out just talking like, guys, this was what we've been working for all year. As you're hearing in the background, I can feel it coming in the air. And he's like, this is what we've been working for, men. And I'm 6. And I'm like, yeah, this is what we've been working for. And then he's like, all those hours, all that sweat, all that blood. And then by the end, he's like screaming at the top of his lungs about the blood and tears that we've shed. And I'm 6 years old down there, like half pumped, half terrified as just Phil Collins, no. And my coach is like, you can do this. This is your moment.
Think about this from this situation from his perspective. He's sitting here just having to pump up a bunch of 6-year-olds.
You know that dude was like, driving home one day and that song came on and he's like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing with the boys.
Honey, I got an idea.
In the driveway, just banging on his steering wheel. Bum, 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 bum.
Gets his wife to come out and sit in the passenger seat so he can show her.
I can feel it in the air.
Oh, Simon's gonna be so pumped with this song.
All right, guys, well done. Our next question from Reddit. What phrase or adage makes you irrationally angry when you hear or read it?
Oh, I got one right off the top. And it is totally irrational because it's a fine enough phrase. I hate when people say, fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh,
fair enough.
Yeah, it's not fair enough.
It's so dismissive usually, but it comes from a positive place most of the time. What I hear when someone says fair enough is shut up. Like you're probably right, but I don't want to agree with you.
Or it's the minimum threshold of stupidity.
Exactly. Or they'll mean it as a positive, but like those words are not communicating at all. Fair, that's a slightly above neutral word. And then you're going to tell me it's just fair enough. Oh God, I hate it. And then the people who say it a lot. Like you don't just drop a fair enough. You answer fair enough.
You're a fair enough guy.
Everything everybody says.
Am I a fair enough guy?
You're not a fair enough guy.
Now I'm like, you brought it up. Now I'm like going back through all my interactions. Like, have I ever said fair enough?
I've definitely said fair enough. Fair enough. But I don't say it in a way of like disagreement. I'm just like
fair enough.
Yeah. No, I probably say it in the exact way that annoys you. I'm gonna try and make sure I do that more often.
It has times where it works. Like if you truly mean fair enough, you should say fair enough, but don't use fair enough to mean agreement because it's not agreement. It's like the bare minimum threshold for agreement.
I see Chungus in the chat said, yo, ho, 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 ho. Morning, fellas.
What up?
Chungus.
I thought he was saying that was the phrase that annoyed him.
Oh, morning, fellas. That's the thing that really gets to him.
Chungy, what's up?
For me, it's when people, it's kind of in the same vein, Simon. It's the, if I'm being honest, or full transparency crowd. That one is a very, that one gets said a whole lot. And I can't not hear it in a way where it's like, well, is this a novel thing for you to be honest or to be transparent? Is this so novel that you must remark on it? Like, why else use your breath, use your energy to say that?
Yeah, you might as well say, if I'm usually dishonest, but
right.
here's a treat for you.
Right. And then when you start to think about it, you're like, wait, even if you're like, okay, all right, JL, settle down. People just saying that, gets the point across like, hey, I'm about to say something serious. Just think about the words. It doesn't actually, you're just wasting your breath. It doesn't actually say anything. Say something else.
Say anything else.
If I'm being honest, JL, I think that's actually pretty reasonable.
Thanks, Simon.
It's fair enough.
If I'm being honest.
Fair enough.
Fair enough if that upsets you.
Fair enough. Well, this one is one that, the one I have is one that people don't really say on this show. We could start mixing it in. But if anyone that's worked retail before, and I've worked a number of different jobs, many of which I've been fired from. I worked at Polo Rent-A-Them Outlets. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts. I worked at KB Toys. I worked at Model Sporting Goods. And you cannot escape the saying and this sentiment that I don't think anybody truly understands like how it originated and what it really means. But anytime you're in a discussion with a customer, they have already decided that the customer is always right. And the number of times somebody's tried to say, well, the customer is always right, or try and bring me to my manager when I was younger and say to my manager, the customer is always right, is mind-boggling. And there's nothing better than when the customer says that and my manager goes, no. Some dude brought in one time. I remember this guy, this older Indian gentleman brought in a pair of polo pants that clearly he got at a yard sale somewhere that were from like the 70s, dude. And they were just like brown and completely destroyed. And he was trying to exchange them for a pair of like brand new $70 polo Ralph Lauren brown pants. Right. And he tried to drop a customer is always right on me. And I was just like, my dude. It didn't
Anybody
even have
who says the customer is always right is in the wrong. There is no need that you're gonna have to say that phrase unless you're in the wrong most of the time.
Exactly, dude. Like I was like, he was like, get your manager. I was like, oh, dude, I'll get everybody in the store for this one. Like this guy, I was like, this one's gonna be good. This one's gonna be good. Believe me. Like it not only didn't have the tags on it, it didn't even have like the paper tags that are inside of it. Those were ripped out. I'm like, how do you even know that these are polo, brother?
They weren't even originally brown.
Yeah,
they just were brown now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were only brown in the back. So yeah, we had to shut that guy down. But yeah, the customer is always right. Shut up, dude. The level of entitlement you have to drop that. If you have to get to the point where you drop that line, you're already being an asshole. So shut your little mouth.
And if you are in a situation where you're right and the worker is not, you probably just remove yourself from that situation because you're not going to solve it by telling them the customer is always right. You're just going to escalate. It never has a place, even when you're in the right. That phrase solves nothing.
Right. Especially when I'm a 17-year-old making minimum wage. Like,
that's always
Good
my
luck.
favorite. The people that come in and yell at these God, like they're making like $8.25 an hour, just doing their best. Give them a break, man.
All of a sudden,
Chungus.
they do that. They would literally give me a break because I would literally just be like, "Oh, looks like I'm on break."
Warchunk is in here, said sorry, not sorry. Stupid phrase. I've never been able to like work that one into my lexicon. It's never felt natural to me.
You've never been stupid.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry for partying.
Why is that? Why is that? Is this you talking to your parents after they catch you at a party?
Sorry for partying.
Sorry, not sorry. Sorry for partying.
That literally was like half
Sorry,
the
I'm
girls in my
young.
college. Sorry, not party. Sorry, I'm not sorry. And
Sorry,
sorry
not
for
partying.
partying. Sorry for not partying. YOLO for loco. Like that was pretty much college.
Did you guys ever listen to the Millionaires, the girl pop group, the Millionaires?
No.
The way you guys are talking and the general vibe, that is their music. Like you guys just wrote a Millionaire song with that right there. Just add a little beat behind it. It is garbage, but in the best way. Like look up the Millionaires, the song Alcohol. It is like it's beautiful. And it's exactly what you guys just did. It's the same thing. That's some of my favorite.
Sounds great.
Well done, guys. We have one more question from Reddit here. At what point does a cup become a bucket?
Oh, God. This is the loaf debate all over again, JL.
The loaf talk.
I think a cup was always a bucket. It just didn't know it.
So you're thinking
I think the
that
bucket was inside the whole time.
you're thinking that a cup, it's like kind of like a bucket is a rectangle and a cup is a square, where a cup is just a type of bucket.
More like
I
knew the cup. I knew the cup had the bucket in them the whole time.
I've got a. Well, here's a question. I feel like a big part of buckets. Well, I guess you can have one without it, but like if you take a
Bucket
cup,
culture.
if you take a cup and put handles on it, at that point, I think it would be a bucket.
Require a handle. That's what I was debating here. Is does a bucket require
a bucket?
handle?
That's not a bucket, dude. Doesn't feel like
Got
a
a
bucket.
handle.
But not.
Look up the.
It has to be the overhead, the top handle, okay? Because once you have the side handle is not a bucket.
The definition is a roughly cylindrical open container. So far so good with all cups. Typically made of metal or plastic. Typically, we can throw that out because it doesn't require it to be made of metal or plastic.
This is plastic.
With a handle. So it does say with a handle, used to hold and carry liquids or other material.
So this is a bucket.
So it's a bucket. Cup's always been a bucket.
But this doesn't have a handle. And in that definition, it said it required a handle. So it may not even be a size thing. That definition said it requires a handle.
So this is a bucket, but what you're holding is not.
This is not a bucket.
So the handle's required?
I've seen multiple definitions. This one says attached to a semicircular carrying handle called the bail. So there's even a name for it that makes it a bucket, the bail.
I feel like Home Depot's got to have a bucket without handles.
But then I don't think it's then I think it's a broken bucket.
No, a bucket without a handle is a pail.
But not broken. The one
Bucket.
it's a pail?
A bucket without a handle is a pail.
Oh, you guys are rocking my world right now.
There you go. There you go, dude. We solved that one. There you go, Reddit. Got your answers right there.
You're welcome.
Have you ever guys, speaking of buckets, have you guys ever heard of the guitarist Buckethead?
Yes.
Yes.
Dude, so I didn't realize that dude has recorded literal hundreds of albums. Hundreds.
There's some of these dudes that are just wildly prolific musicians where you can never keep up with the work that they do. I know one I follow is Ty Segall. Like I love that dude, but he puts out so much music, solo projects with other bands. I just can't keep up.
Buckethead has 435 studio albums.
Jeez, that's a busy man. Does he just show up and be like, just record anything, make it an album and put it out?
Just shreds, dude. He just stays
shredding.
Stays shredding, bruh. He's
Victor
always ready to get shreddy.
Ready to shreddy. Victor in the chat said, should have told that customer, no Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. I work in retail. I understand that, Cooper.
Yeah, bro. You got to shut those people down, bro. You got to shut them down.
And our buddy Nick in here said, YOLO for Loco.
Yeah.
Because 2011.
Never again.
Four Locos were wild in 2011.
Dude, when they were real, bro. When the Four Locos first came out,
2013.
those were gasoline. I used to wake up and I couldn't feel my arm.
They had to nerf the Four Loco. Like
They did.
They released a patch for that thing because it was broken. It was breaking the game. You could not drink a full one. I mean, you could, but you shouldn't.
One of my buddies was drinking Four Loko one night, and we woke up next morning, and one of the chairs, a chair had gone through their window and was inside of their apartment, right? And the crazy part is that we realized it had been thrown from the outside, obviously, because it came through the window. And when we counted the chairs in their apartment, they had the exact number of chairs they should have. So at some point, he took a chair from outside of the apartment and then threw it through the window into his own apartment.
Beautiful.
Four Loko. That's a Four Loko ad. That was about the time. That was about the time they realized this is poison.
It's just Coop telling that story, us silent for 3 seconds, and it cuts in Four Loko. Like, try it with your friends.
Buckethead's doing a solo.
Craig in the chat said, I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I'm up at 4:30 with grumpy kids, sometimes you lose track of start times of your favorite morning show. It happens, Craig. That's fair enough, my friend.
Why the kids so grumpy, dude? Get them some breakfast Loco.
Breakfast Loco. Not parental advice.
Yeah, not real advice.
Yeah, can you tell none of us are parents? Just half a Four Loko.
Hit him with a Loco.
just a half. Don't be ridiculous.
Grandpa's old cough medicine.
There were
Four Loko.
There was like a month ago. I saw a video of a guy. It was a guy and his wife from Utah who were traveling, and in Utah, alcohol sales are not as common as they are elsewhere. And this guy, not an alcohol consumer, and from a state where alcohol isn't in front of him all the time, was going to the gym while they were on vacation, and comes back, and wife walks in the living room and goes, hey, what are you drinking there? And it was an energy drink that he picked up before his workout at the gym, drove to the gym in the rental car, was going to drive back, was pretty much done with this at this point. Like he takes a big old sip, and his wife's like, hey, why don't you read that can? He's like, yeah, Four Loko. And he's like reading, and then he gets down, he's like, 14% alcohol. There's alcohol in this. And he goes, I drove home. He's like, I thought this was just an energy drink. And he goes, is that a lot? And she's like, yeah, it's a lot of alcohol in there.
It's like drinking 4 beers, dude.
He had never had alcohol in his life. Thought he was picking up an energy drink. Went to the gym and drank an entire Four Loko during his workout.
Bro, that dude would be.
That is absurd.
That dude would be
vomit everywhere all night.
Hammered.
Surely.
If the first alcohol you ever drank was a Four Loko, you'd be crushed.
You'd be ruined. Four Loko, not a sponsor.
Wow.
Guys, coming up, we are going to play a game called Sell Me This Pen, where we have to sell assorted goodies to the other people on this show. We're going to play a new game called Here's the Pitch, and then we're going to talk some trade values using Trade Daddy's charts. Daddy's not home, but we're throwing a trade party without him. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Okay, it is now time for our Lucra app contest of the day. Obviously, we have been telling you about Lucra throughout the last couple of weeks here on the Better Sports Network. What we're talking about is an app that you can download. You sign up, you registered. I was looking at it today because I'm in Missouri, and it's like, well, Missouri doesn't have legalized, excitement of wagering, betting, all that, but you can do Lucra. And the reason you can do it is it's a contest. You challenge a friend, you challenge a buddy, family member, whoever it is, and you can look at that day's events and you can kind of say, okay, I'm going to take this side of the coin. Do you want to take this side? Most points scored or most yards thrown for, whatever you want to do. You can create these contests. Money is put up. Right now, when you sign up, you download the Lucra app, you sign up, you register. Use the promo code BSN, and they will throw in a free $5 for you to get rolling. So get that app, use the promo code BSN. You're good to go. Challenge your friends, your family. enemies, whoever you want to challenge, you can do it. Ray and I are challenging each other in our own little contest, and we'll do this throughout the week where we'll kind of say, I'll take this side, you take that side. We are looking specifically, Ray, today at the Cincinnati and Buffalo game. This will be the first game on Sunday. Right now, the money line has Buffalo minus 225, and Cincinnati is at plus 190. So I send you the contest. It pops up in the Lucra app. People will see, oh, so-and-so wants to challenge me. Let's see what he's wanting to play for. So, Ray, we're doing a challenge on the pick'em, the money line here to win straight up. Buffalo, Cincinnati, what side do you have?
I'm taking the side where I'm going to win, and I'm not going to get any money for it. I'm going to take the Bills. It's a tough matchup, right? And there's absolutely a path to success here for the Bengals. I just looked at the Bengals last week, and you mentioned this yesterday. Yeah, like they didn't look sharp. And again, the game flow and the way it went, and okay, but they didn't do much in the second half. They didn't have the ball, but they didn't do much in the second half. They've had a hard time establishing the run of late. More importantly, they've lost multiple offensive linemen. So now there's all kinds of concern, which is the area that they work to strengthen on. We all were excited about the offensive line coming into the season. The season started, the offensive line wasn't very good. We also, what the hell? They finally figured it out, got rolling. Now the guys are falling away with injury. There are concerns with the Bills that I have expressed with you for weeks now, months now, even with the offense. But it's a home game for the Bills. I think that they're going to pose some problems for the Bengals. And I think that they'll win, but that money line would not make me excited about betting that one specifically, but using Lucra and getting able to play against you, I'm in.
That is our Lucra app contest of the day. Ray's taking the Buffalo side straight up. I'm going with Cincinnati. We'll continue to hit you with some Lucra app contest as we go through the week. And again, reminder, head over to your favorite app store, download it now. Lucra, by the way, is how you spell that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're back at it, and we're about to sell you this pen or some other assorted things. We're playing a game called Sell Me This Pen, where our contestants are going to be presented with something they have to sell, and it is their one and only job to sell it to the other two. Got to commit. You really got to sell it. You fully believe in this product, and you're going to fail if the other two don't want to buy it by the end of what you're selling.
Oh, I can't wait.
You ready? We got Nicholas in here as well. Nicholas in here letting us know he has a buddy that used to shotgun the original Four Locos. Shout out Moises. Said we call him Moises the Moistest.
So
classic.
You had a friend.
You had I was gonna say you had a buddy that used to do that, or you used to have a buddy.
Have a buddy that would shotgun the original Four Locos. Yikes.
Aggressive.
Shout
All
out
right,
Moises.
guys.
That's a tough dude.
Moises the Moistest.
That dude knows how to party. He knows how to party, dude.
It's not the word moist. I wanna set here's another back to that Reddit question. When people this is something Bo Burnham's brought up, JL, talking about people who pretend like they hate the word moist.
I would have called you out for it if he had said it.
No, I'm bringing up something like this is a Bo Burnham one that I'm putting into the answer of that question. The people that act like they hate the word moist. Moist isn't a gross word. You've just been told it's a gross word over and over and over and over and over again. Now, I will say, Moises the Moistest, just the slight change from word to word. I don't like the way that rolls off the tongue, though. With moist being so close to moist.
There are some words I don't like, though. Like, there's got to be words that you guys don't like, right?
Caterpillar.
Ungulate.
Ungulate is a weird sounding word. I've never liked the word crap. It's just too crass to me.
Pituitary. Don't like it.
Ungulate.
I won't say ungulate anymore. I have said it on the show maybe 10 times or so.
I still don't know what it is.
I was playing a board game.
I've explained it to you.
I was playing a board game with my girlfriend, and I said something ungulate, and she looked at me, and I said, it means hoofed animals. But for some reason, dolphins are included. And then I just kept going with the game. And she was like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's the official definition.
Sell me dolphins as an ungulate.
Tell me the Dolphins have hooves. All right, guys, let's get into our game. Sell me this pen.
Like Nicholas said, LMAO, RIP Moises. JK, he's still around.
I'm gonna stop doing it. I'm 100% stealing that. RIP Coop.
JK,
that's not my buddy. He's still here, but RIP.
RIP. Rest in power.
Just want him to sleep. Just want him to sleep well.
All right, guys. Coop, you're gonna go first on this one. Coop, sell me on making producer Keith my wedding coordinator.
Yeah. So this is something I actually do truly believe in. Do I trust producer Keith to produce the show? No, of course not. He,
It'd be ridiculous.
Quite often the last person in the meeting in the mornings. He's
high and asleep back there.
He spent 2 full weeks without having any lights on because he was too lazy to go get some sort of lamp, right? Which was insane. And eventually he ordered one off Amazon, and I'm assuming now he has one light in his entire apartment. But either way, I don't know if you've seen some of the high quality production. His ability to come up with add the Whopper commercial to the show at a moment's notice. I have no doubt that he could put together a phenomenal highlight reel and potentially mix in some callback jokes from earlier on in the wedding. Not to mention, Keith, after seeing, him in just his underpants during our 100th episode and seeing his absolutely phenomenal tree trunk legs, I guarantee he has some mean dance moves. I bet he could do a backflip. I bet he could do the splits. So Keith,
what's that one where they go like this?
Oh,
and they dance and they throw their legs out.
The Rasputin.
I bet he could. Yeah. I bet he could do that.
That's what I bet you he's got that one.
I bet he could do that one.
Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine.
I bet he could do that one. The only thing you have to worry about with that one though is that there would be pieces of floorboard flying around the room.
His shoe hits my grandma in the face.
Like there would be full projectile floorboards flying around. So that one might be a little dangerous.
Do it for the vine.
So yeah. So Keith, he would crush that job. And I mean, after that sales pitch, it's gonna be hard not to hire him.
I'm 100% imagining the scene in Elf where Will Ferrell's in the mailroom doing the Rasputin, whatever it's called. He's like, hey!
Yeah.
Oh!
That's Keith at your wedding, just hyping everyone up, getting everyone wasted, and then getting them dancing. He's on the table in the middle of dinner. The DJ hasn't even started yet. There is no music playing. He's just on the table during dinner going at it.
Yeah, calling me the wrong name.
Keith in the chat saying, I can't do that dance. I'm in a walking boot. Keith, you're not supposed to do that during my sales pitch. You totally blew it. I had you pack. I just sold him a broken walkie-talkie. It was all packaged up. And you just come out and ruin it.
That mid Rasputin dance, his boot hits my grandma again in the face.
No, what'll happen is Keith just has to recruit another person in a boot so they have 2 working legs. And I don't think Scott's in one right now, but Scott Fish surely will be in a boot sometime in the next couple months. Yes. So you can just go ahead and get Scott Fish involved now. And then come wedding day, when you're both inevitably in boots, you've got the full dance settled. You'll just wear one pair of pants.
There we go. Boys in boots.
And Ernie said the offensive line. Yeah. Your wedding party can carry Keith on the dance floor. He'll be Byron Leftwich out there. It's just Ernie with him over his shoulder. It's just him dangling over his shoulder.
Keith's like, put me down.
We carry him out there so he can do his one-legged dance moves.
Nobody reacts. It's just Keith.
What moves can you really do with one leg? He can do that one where you hold your other leg and go like behind your head. Like
stanky leg?
Yeah. You do the stanky leg a little bit.
Oh, I was imagining the absence of a leg. That one would be really difficult. Yeah. But he has a boot.
Probably still do the worm.
All right,
also,
well
just I don't know when the last time you guys have done the worm is. It's not conducive to the adult male anatomy.
Right.
Is all I'm going to say. I tried it over Christmas break, and it's just like body slamming your balls into the ground over and over and over.
Why'd you try it?
Because someone said, I bet you can't do the worm. And I said,
find-
bet I can.
Why'd they say that?
I also
Because we were
find
talking about the worm.
I also find that I end up doing the worm at least twice a year. And yes, I think the thing is that I think you just forgot that it always hurt. Like there was at no point did it not hurt.
Maybe like
There was,
pre-7.
Pre-7 was the move.
It didn't
There
hurt,
was
and then it hurt all of a sudden.
I don't even know if the worm was a thing when I was 7.
It was my move. I'm not gonna lie. It was my move for a bit. When I was young enough to where like the older, like the high school kids at the basketball camp, I'd get a reaction from them. So it was like my go-to move for a while. Not my brightest days.
That can't be your go-to. It can be in your bag of tricks, but it cannot be your main move. You
can't be the worm guy.
You can't be the worm guy. You can be. Nah, you can't be.
Here's every single person needs to have a dance move where if you break it out at a wedding, you have someone else responsible, and then they know it's time to go home. My sister, hers is the splits. If she does the splits at a wedding, everyone who's with her knows it's time to take her back off the dance floor. She needs to go home. If I do the worm at a wedding, get me home soon because I'm about to be a problem. Like if I am on the dance floor at a wedding doing the worm, I should not be there for more than 5 more minutes. Someone needs to get me home. So you need to figure out what your dance move is. What's the dance move that you hit when you're about to be a problem? And then make sure the people around you know that if they see you doing that dance move, it's time to exit. It's time to get out.
Mine is one that me and my buddies do, but then I start going up to other people trying to get them to do it. The shower.
Soldier Boy.
The shower.
The shower.
So you go up and you hold your hands up like this and you go turn on the shower. And then they're supposed to reach up and go like this with your hands and turn it on. And then you go above their head like this with the shower. And then they gotta like do the moves like this. Me and my buddies will do that. But then once I start going up to like grandmas at the wedding and being like, do the shower, turn it on. Like that's when you got to take me away and throw me in a broom closet.
Just keep doing it to like the same people too.
You're not clean yet. You didn't wash between your ears.
Going up to the bride's
3
mom.
times.
But you go up to the bride's mom, just being like, "Do you want to take a shower?"
With your hands out like this.
Yeah,
you want to take a shower?
You need a shower. Yeah.
Well done on that one, Coop. You convinced me. Simon, you're next.
Yeah.
The sales hat on.
Simon Grunewald.
Yeah, that's me.
Simon Daniel Grunewald.
That's also my middle name.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on Florida being the armpit of the country. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. The 2-division system has done nothing but cause negativity here in the NFL. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. The Lions should be in the playoffs over the Buccaneers. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We have these divisions. They were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like,
how dare you?
He smacked a globe. He was like,
what do you mean? All the hard work we've done.
2023 geography doesn't matter, right? He smacks his globe.
You know how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm just imagining they ripped down the world map and underneath is algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
This is what you want. This is what you get.
Their worst nightmare. Right?
Math.
You're making a lot of sense, dude. You're making a lot of sense, especially after what we just saw with the Buccaneers, man. There were probably better teams than the Buccaneers.
Surely,
right? Probably.
Surely better teams than the Buccaneers that should have been in the playoffs.
So,
well done, Simon.
Buying it. I'm buying it.
They sell you?
I lost my pen.
You sold me.
Let's do it.
You said, let's do it.
Let's do it, do it, do it. All right. Should we give you something to sell, Mr. JL?
You can give me something to sell.
All right, JL. Let's see. Well, this one, I know you don't like this. And you've actually had it recently. And I would like you to sell me on jury duty.
Jerry duty.
Jerry.
Sell you on Jerry duty.
Ian Jerry. No Pokemon allowed.
Everybody hates jury duty. They dread
True.
it. They get that letter in the mail. It's like summons.
No, my name's Simon.
Simons. Always misspell. They always misspell. Everybody hates jury duty. Nobody wants to go. Everybody wants to get out of it. Perhaps they're mistaken. Perhaps there's an opportunity that most people are missing.
Perhaps
Following the crowd is an easy way to miss out on fortune. Because going to jury duty, you meet a whole wealth of new people. First of all, you are completely separated from your responsibilities. Your job, they can't bother you. They can't be like, oh, why aren't you doing your work? Oh, why are you talking to your friends about football all day? Why are you playing Madden all day? They can't do that because you're at jury duty. So you bring your Switch, you bring your handheld, you bring your Xbox or PlayStation. They got TVs there.
Said no Pokemon.
And nobody can bother you. And so you sit there. It's a little annoying. You got to go do some work sometimes. Sometimes people ask you questions when you just want to be playing Pokemon. View it as an opportunity. How many people could have met their future wives, future husbands, future partners at jury duty, and they're just not even given a chance? Their future business partners. Could there be more opportunities here at jury duty that we are missing? I'll leave that up to you.
Wow. Dude, first you sold me on the just having a moment to go somewhere and look at my phone, right? And right, like I was already sold. I was already in. Like nobody can bother me, and I have an excuse. Like anyone asks me to do anything, I'm like, nope, jury duty, sorry. And I'm just looking
Jury
at
duty.
Twitter. But then at the end, man, I couldn't help but think, like, what if by the end of this case, you know, you fall in love with the other juror there, you meet your wife, and then by the end, they're just like, you know what? Let's just have the wedding here. And it's in the courtroom and they got people on both sides. You know what I mean? And they're like,
and this is the murderer.
They're like, how do you plead? How do you plead? I do. Right.
So we can't do differences, but we're leaving together.
Beautiful.
We're leaving all united.
The real treasure of jury duty is the friends we made along the way.
The
That's
wives
what
we
your
made.
argument boiled down to, JL.
Yeah.
But I'm with
did.
Coop. You sold me on it just the same reason I love airplanes. It's okay. It is perfectly socially acceptable to just be unreachable. And that is a rare occurrence in today's day and age. There are very few moments where it's just totally okay, where you can say, I was on an airplane, or I was at jury duty.
Dirty duty.
I was at jury duty.
Dirty duty.
Jury duty. That's what Jordy Nelson makes after he eats too many taquitos.
I gotta make a Jordy duty.
I'm gonna make a Jordy duty. I forgot what I was saying there, but I'm with you, JL.
You bring your own chair, lights out. That's it.
Did you bring your own chair?
No, I wish I had though. Let
Did
me tell
anyone?
you.
Did anyone?
Probably. I
That's
bet
how
you.
that's
If
how
you
you know
guys seen
you're
those like
real
pants that have the chair built into it.
No.
pants chair. No, I haven't.
Yeah, we're gonna have to grab a video of that. It's pretty wild. You just sit there and then just go into the squat position. Boom, you're sitting in a chair.
Wow.
I'm looking at these now. Ridiculous.
Coop moves fast. You said
I know,
pants
so
chair.
quick.
I've already got the things pulled up immediately.
Yeah, dude, these are the most ridiculous things ever. And obviously, they picked the hottest chick to showcase. One of them, dude, is
I've
attached.
only seen men in like cargo pants versions.
There's a couple of these that are like attached to your feet. Wearable chair. Like, dude, this looks like an exoskeleton. This is the least discreet thing I've seen. Pretty sick. Pretty sick.
Pretty sick. JL, I think you pretty well sold jury duty. You made something that I dread at least a little bit more appealing. The biggest problem with your argument is I like my job for the most part now.
Yeah.
I like everything I do. I pretty much enjoy. So it's not like the benefit that it once was when I worked in like a corporate environment. I like what I do. So I'm missing out on something that I enjoy doing.
I'm with you, Sam.
But in general, your argument sells to the vast majority of people.
First rule of sales. Talk about other people, what they want.
First rule of sales, ignore the person you're selling to. Go based solely on generic assumptions.
That's true. Like what I do for work, I'd still be doing it there, but what I do for work is also what I do for fun, right? Like just like researching football and tweeting,
yelling at nerds on Twitter.
Right, yeah, making videos about things passionately that upset me that no one else cares about, like tight ends, like rookie tight ends.
Coop's favorite thing to do is just scream about tight ends alone in his office, and sometimes he turns the camera off.
Sometimes.
As coming up, we are going to play a new game called Here's the Pitch. We're going to talk some trade values as well. But here on BSN tonight, Better Sports Live is going on at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla are going to be live for Better Sports Live tonight at 7 p.m. They're talking NFL playoffs, fantasy football contests, and betting, and live NBA coverage. And our friend Steffi Smalls is going to be interviewed with them from Champions Round. So tune in tonight to Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla and Lisa Ann for the interview with Steffi Smalls from Champions Round and some fantasy playoffs talk as well. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Corey, Nando, and friends, presented by Mayo Media on Better Sports Network.
I'm convinced that Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Babe Ruth is not real. No, it's not. Babe Ruth is not real. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been led astray. We've been run amok.
Keep going.
Babe Ruth, I don't know the rest. The Babe Ruth is a fictional character. I'm dead serious. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Y'all are never going to get me to believe that Babe Ruth is real. Babe Ruth is like a baseball Santa Claus. I'm not buying it. After I saw those highlights last night of Babe Ruth, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Babe Ruth is a real person. Who do you know? There is nobody under the sound of my voice that has ever seen Babe Ruth play. I asked my pop, you ever seen Babe Ruth play? He's like, no. Nobody's ever seen Babe Ruth play.
Come on.
I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Even Babe Ruth baseball cards, it looked like it's drawn. Like, Babe Ruth is not real. Y'all trying to pull a fast one. Listen, I don't know who made this up. Maybe it was Phil Rizzuto. Maybe it's the Lenny Melnick. But Babe Ruth is not a real person. There's no way. Everything about Babe Ruth is sketchy. If you didn't go to the games, how do you know that it really happened? Or I listened on the radio. You listen to Ovaltine on the radio. That old school radio was all fiction. Everything on old school radio was fake. But you think Babe Ruth is real?
Look, he lived until 1948. So if you find someone who's like 85 years old, they might have remembered him when he was little, when they were a little teenager.
Babe Ruth was made up by baseball purists. I am certain.
You do that thing where you pause a Babe Ruth video and you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in. You see like some artist's autograph, like right here.
Yeah,
like, digital art right here. Yeah.
Somebody needs to investigate this and see if Babe Ruth is a real person. I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth is a fictional character created to make people think that like there was this great jolly old baseball player that drank beers and ate hot dogs and hit 60 home runs. Like the home run record before Babe Ruth was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
but
now
he figured it out. Like who figured out the dunk, right? Like he's just like,
that's like Dr. J or something, right? Then Dr. J, probably was before Dr. J, but Dr. J made the dunk famous. Babe Ruth made the home run famous, or maybe that was a way to get people to like. We're gonna make baseball America's pastime, but in order to do so, we need somebody who we can make the face of the sport. And they didn't have no face of the sport. So they're like, okay, let's make him a fictional guy that played for the Red Sox and was traded to the Yankees for like tickets to tickets to cats. You know what I'm saying? Like the Red Sox get
You tried to say Les
There's
Miserables.
is there any footage of Babe Ruth in the Red Sox uniform? None. I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. What's it in this time, JL?
It's in the beans.
It's still in the beans, so we gotta get it out.
Listening to that commercial, like Corey cracks me up, dude. Nando, super funny. And I just want to say congratulations to our own Nando DeFino. He and Dave Richard were announced as the FSWA Hall of Fame entries this year. They're both in. Couldn't be better choices, man. And my first thought, I said it on the post there.
Congratulations.
Hurrah.
Congratulations.
Huzzah. This is like
Wow.
The thing is, like, these guys, I've been, listening to them since back when they were on CBS.
Wow.
This is like if in the NFL you were allowed to put Tom Brady and Peyton Manning into the Hall of Fame back in like 2012 when they're still in their prime, because both those dudes are still out here crushing content, doing the same thing they've been doing that got the whole time that got them in it. So it's like, not only do we get to celebrate them, but luckily for us, they're still out here crushing content, doing what made us nominate them in the first place. So congratulations to those two. So awesome.
Shout out the very serious writer, Nando DeFino, with the winning the pooper
Very
card.
smart.
But for real, congratulations, Nando. Much deserved, my friend.
Yes, all love.
And Tommy in the chat, let's give him an oi, oi, oi.
Hey.
Oi.
Hey.
There you go. That one's for you, Nando. You guys ready to get into our next game? It's called Here's the Pitch. And John Luke, you want to let us know how this game's going to work?
I will let you guys know when the time is right.
Yeah, let me know whenever you're ready.
And that happens to be now.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, our next segment is called Here's the Pitch. It's a brand new segment. Brand new. Can you tell we've been coming up with some ideas this week? In this game, in this segment, we're going to take turns to pitch our imaginary invention ideas and movie ideas, or anything. It can be anything. Movie plot, invention ideas. You're pitching something that you want to exist. Real world. Simon, you want to start us off?
Yes, I do. I very much so want to start us off because it's related to something we talked about earlier. Picture yourself at a carnival. Okay, you're walking around, you're looking at all the games, you're there with some friends, and maybe one of your friends has a kid. And so you've got this mixed group of ages, right? But you want to do something together that's not a ride because the little kid can't get on the big rides. You can't fit on the little pirate ship, but you want to do something that everyone can do. You roll across and you find the game with the gun that you squirt into the hole, and it pushes a little rocket ship up to the top, and whoever reaches the top wins. The only goal is to get the water stream hitting the target, which then propels the thing to the top. Now, take that feeling that you have while you're playing that game, that excitement, the inclusivity of that game, and imagine you're at a bar with your friends. You've each had 4 or 5 beers, you've broken the seal, you got to run to the restroom, and you go in there, and attached to the urinals, there are little rocket ships that can go all the way to the top and a small target in the middle of the urinal. You take that carnival game where you shoot the water rocket at the target to race to the top, and you put that in urinals in bathrooms, and people can now have urinal races like a carnival style game in the bathroom. That's the invention I'm bringing to the table.
Brilliant. Does this work in both bathrooms?
Yeah, I imagine aiming might be a little bit more difficult for women. Tommy said it exists. I've never seen this in a bathroom, but I believe you.
That's got to be a disgusting game, like a disgusting mechanism.
Imagine
one you're shooting water, one's just covered in urine.
It needs repairs.
Yeah. Oh,
being
throw it out.
Yeah, being the carnival, being the urinal carnival race
worst
cleaner.
job.
But Imagine how into it you would get if you and your buddy were standing at the urinal and truly racing to the top with those rockets, right? Like I can imagine that being so much fun.
That is a really good idea, Simon. I like the pitch. Coop, you got something for us? Or you want me to go next?
You can go next. Yeah.
All right. Here's the pitch, guys. You guys know that movie Freaky Friday?
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan?
I'm intimately aware.
We reboot it and we cast Kevin Hart and Denzel Washington. That's it. That's the pitch.
Denzel Washington as Jamie Lee Curtis and
Yes.
Kevin Hart as Lindsay Lohan is what I'm assuming here.
Yes.
And it makes it funnier. Jail, this kind of lines up with an idea I've brought up before, but it makes it funnier that it's a grown man. Like Kevin Hart's like not kind of a grown man, like he's a grown ass man. Like that's
he's like 45
but he's
years old.
he's gonna be playing like a high schooler, like who gets switched with his parents. I'm digging it. Also, Kevin Hart's reaction to I want that movie solely to see Kevin Hart's reaction when he wakes up or when Denzel Washington wakes up in Kevin Hart's body. Just the
They have to
facial
play each other.
expressions. Oh my god. Kevin
They have
Hart
to play
playing
each other's
Denzel.
personality in their own body.
That would be
That's what I'm saying.
amazing. There really should be more movies where it's you pick the most ridiculous possible actors and they have to do impressions of each other.
Yeah,
I just watched
one
that
movie and then you just redo it, but with a crazy cast.
Yeah, I feel like Hollywood's already kind of caught on to that. It's like Ghostbusters, except with funny ladies.
Dustin said Denzel can't do Kevin Hart. He's not worried about Kevin Hart doing Denzel. Says Denzel can do Kevin Hart.
Denzel
can do
Denzel can
anything.
do it all. Yeah, he's a legend.
He'll be a
that's
better
pretty
Kevin
good.
Hart than Kevin Hart, I think.
What'd you say?
Are there any other plot changes? Like, is the setting exactly the same? Like, is this reboot taking place someplace else, or is it literally everything else is the same?
Denzel has the love interest Mark Harmon, who's trying to come in and be Kevin Hart's stepdad. Stays the same.
Can Kevin Hart do anyone other than Kevin Hart? Is the real question.
Yeah, he could do a lot.
He seems like he's Kevin Hart in most movies.
Have you ever seen a Kevin Hart special?
Yeah,
he plays a lot of different characters.
Kind of. Yeah, Kevin Hart is funny, but there are a lot of characters that are just themselves in every movie. Like The Rock, for the most part, is just The Rock.
Yeah, some characters do, or some actors play the same character over and over and over again. Kevin Hart, unbelievable comedian. And I do think what I think of his acting is less on him and more on how he gets cast in movies. He gets cast as Kevin Hart in most movies that he plays. Know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's making that creative decision. It's the people making the movies going, we want Kevin Hart doing what he does best in our movies, which is being Kevin Hart.
Exactly.
He did a very not Kevin Hart movie recently. I'm forgetting the name, but like semi-recently he put out a movie that was, I think,
James Finnegan. That's as far of a name from Kevin Hart as I could think of.
That's it. You nailed it. James Finnegan.
Jimmy Finnegan. Yeah, that was good.
Well, he was in a serious movie, J.O.?
Yeah, he did a serious movie. I can't remember the plot of it right now. I'll have to look it up.
Sounds phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
Freaky Friday reboot with Kevin Hart and Denzel Washington. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Coop, you take the charge on this one.
Yeah, I'll set it up. So I got a movie idea for my pitch as well. My movie idea would be this, right? So it starts off and there are some mysterious murders and they start happening more and more frequently. We find out about a quarter way through the movie that it's actually robots that have figured out that humans are poisoning the world. So they're trying to bring the world back to its normal state, kill all the humans, right? So that nature can survive. But halfway through the film, major plot twist. All the humans are eradicated, but the animals then decide that they don't like the robots. So now it's like all these robots that are like pew pew pew, and all these lions and tigers that are like rah, and the rest of the movie
and also like pew pew pew
pew pew pew, right? Yeah, they also have guns. So then by the end of the movie, it's basically like there's no humans in the movie, and it's just like Terminators against like, you know, like every animal, dude, and all the animals are teaming up together. So there's like snakes and Like
Is
ants.
that lion from Narnia is leading the troops?
He's there, dude. He's there. And the robots
Aslan?
the robots are like, what's your plan? And the lion from Narnia is like, none of your business.
Nice. Get back in your wardrobe.
Get back.
Bitch.
Yeah, that's his tag. That's his tagline.
You know what? That might have actually been the tagline from Epic Movie, though. Do you remember those horrible?
Epic Movie.
And Aslan was in there as like a freaking like pimp lion.
I was right. It is Aslan.
Did he drop that line in that movie?
I am not positive, but there's like an 80% chance he says "back in the wardrobe, bitch" at some point.
I did watch that movie a decent amount growing up, so there's a chance I just took that as my own.
Probably.
I don't remember anything about it. I just know that I've watched it a lot of times.
So that's the movie. I don't know who's going to win. You know, it's still a work in progress, whether the robots win or whether the animals win or whether you leave it kind of open-ended so that there could be multiple sequels. But
I got the ending, Coop, if you don't mind me throwing one in there.
Oh, I need it.
One lion is left standing at the end, but then as it zooms in on his face and the credits roll, you see a red light blink in the lion's eye. The lion is left with the question of, is the lion a robot?
It's
so
like,
one animal wins, but you see the blink or you see something mechanical in the lion's face to show you maybe he was a traitor. Cut to credits. Set you up for a sequel.
Dang, Simon, I wish you had seen Inception.
I have not seen Inception. I have not.
It's so hard to make references. You guys have you guys seen this? But Simon has seen a different group of movies that nobody likes. So we do have we do kind of cover the spectrum.
I got bad movies. You guys got good movies. And then we're good.
We got it covered. Some of the movies you've seen are good.
Some of them.
Yeah.
On
I
accident.
don't think all the movies I've seen are good.
I've seen some bad movies. No question.
I've seen some pretty bad ones.
Nice, see me too. The worst movie ever made.
Dude,
I still haven't watched it.
I was watching it. Speaking of bad movies, I was watching an old season of Survivor with my wife. We're just kind of going through some old ones. And one of the reward challenges, so they do like immunity challenges and reward challenges. The rewards are usually like you get to go to a spa for a weekend, after living in the woods. One of the reward challenges in this old season, they were like, we're going to show you a movie that's not even in theaters yet. You get to get a sneak preview to this movie. We're going to set you up with popcorn, the whole theater experience. And that movie is going to be Jack and Jill, starring Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler's perennial work. Jack and Jill.
Dude, that movie got a 3 on Rotten Tomatoes, and Adam Sandler won the Razzie Award. These are awards for worst, they give out the worst awards. He won the award for worst actor and also worst actress because he plays both. Yeah, they're literally they're showing clips of them just sitting there being like, ha ha.
That's awesome.
That was their reward. Their reward was to see Jack and Jill.
Jill, I have another thing to pitch to you guys, if you don't mind. Do you mind if I jump in here?
Please.
So this one goes back to college. It's something I got to give credit to my roommate Tim. Workshopped this idea, but ever since he said it, I can't not imagine it. I love a reality TV show. I love a reality cooking TV show. I love a reality cooking competition TV show. So Chopped is just about near peak television, but it is missing a slight element of chaos. What Tim proposed in college, and I think should be implemented, is we change the name of Chopped to Stabby Stab Kitchen, and you are allowed to attack your fellow competitors. So it is either the person who wins traditionally or the last one alive that wins Chopped. So you can win in one of two ways in that kitchen. You defeat all of your other competitors in hand-to-hand battle, or you defeat them in the kitchen. Up to you. But you're going to have to play defense if you want to win as a chef.
Are you allowed to smash up the other people's food too? Like somebody makes a cupcake?
Just the people. No, you can only attack them. You can't attack their food.
Yeah. Like what Maria and I would do to you and Leanne in Overcooked.
Yeah, exactly like that.
The dishes you guys make?
Honestly, this is the reason this has gotten so prevalent in my mind is that experience of playing Overcooked with you. In that game, I should have been able to just go over and attack you and Maria.
We need to stream that. Like Maria and I versus you and Leanne.
Just a massacre. So we need to stream a massacre. That's what we need to stream.
Oh,
it'd be like
so hard.
It'd be like streaming Derrick Henry hitting someone on the 50-yard line. Me. That's exactly what it is. Just an Overcooked. You guys are the Derrick Henry of Overcooked.
Dude, you gotta, if you want to have a funny overcooked experience, you gotta play with my buddy the guy. He pops in the chat every once in a while. Meat Mansion 69 is his username. He is about as dyslexic as you can be. So when you play Overcooked with him and you're like on your left, he's just like, ah! It is when we play Call of Duty. When I try to tell him where people are, I have to say map side, where the map is on the bottom part of the screen, because he can't figure it out. So playing Overcooked with him, oh, it's a treat.
It's a treat. That would frustrate the hell out of me.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Craig in the chat said Jack and JL. Now there is a movie idea.
Mm.
I like that.
Where JL plays Jack and JL, or does Jack play Jack and JL?
Who's Jack? Jack Black?
You have to make up the Jack character that you also
Jack and JL. It's Jack Black and I.
What if this segment just turned into us saying movies and saying but with Jack Black? Just over and over and over again. We just take turns naming.
Yeah,
but with Jack Black.
What's your favorite blackjack movie?
Still 21.
21, but with blackjack.
But with
Jack Black. Yeah, I can't say it right. I
Kevin Spacey. That would be such a better version of 21. We just came up with an idea.
That's mine. Stabby Stab Kitchen. Add an element of chaos. Another way to win. You love multiple win conditions in a competition as well. Know what I mean? People can work towards multiple goals. It adds another layer of strategy.
Simon, my next one, I think ours can be mixed together here. I think one can be utilized in the other. And my next invention idea here is spaghetti confetti.
Spaghetti confetti.
Go on.
I rest my case.
I'm listening.
All right, think confetti. Imagine confetti, right? Mm-hmm. Like a confetti cannon, though. I'm talking like, Mario Party where you hit the Koopa bank. It's like, bah, boom.
Or like you just got the golden buzzer on the voice.
Exactly.
And it's falling from the sky.
Instead of little pieces of paper, it's a entire vat of spaghetti and various sauces.
Various sauces?
Well, yeah, you get to pick depending on the.
Oh, I thought they're not all mixed together into. I thought you just dumped like 20 cans of different kinds of sauce.
You pick the right sauce for the right occasion and the right pasta for the right occasion. Although it's all spaghetti.
So let's say it's like
spaghetti's always the right pasta. You pick the right pasta for the right occasion, which is always spaghetti.
Which is always spaghetti. Yeah.
You can pick any pasta you want as long as it's spaghetti.
As long as you pick spaghetti.
So what? Like, let's say it's my quinceañera. Well, which sauce is the appropriate sauce for that occasion?
Quinceañera.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
thank you.
Major achievement. Big moment in your life.
De nada.
You're an idiot.
You're welcome. You got to go with the classic.
That's classic sauce, yeah.
The classics.
That's what I figured.
Now, ragu.
So like a vodka penne.
What?
Yeah.
What separates this from just a spaghetti cannon? Because like spaghetti confetti cannon, like is the spaghetti chopped up into smaller pieces? Is the cleanup easier?
It's all about intent. And spaghetti cannon, that's a weapon. Spaghetti, that is a weapon. You're pointing that bad boy down, right? Like you want to line drive a spaghetti if you got a spaghetti cannon. Confetti is not that serious. We're gonna point it up, so it's up in the air. So unless you're standing right and staring down the barrel of that bad boy, you're going to be good. You're just going to get covered in spaghetti.
Is it wet?
Oh. Is it wet?
Is it warm?
Very.
Are there meatballs?
There can be.
Costs extra.
It costs extra, though, yes.
It get a little dangerous with meatballs.
Now, is spaghetti confetti intended for human consumption or just for celebration like normal confetti?
Both.
Okay.
You got to get the spaghetti off the top if you're going to be picking it up off the ground.
I got a question similar to Coop's. Let's say it's my bat mitzvah. What kind of sauce and noodle combo would you recommend?
For a bat mitzvah, let me ask you this.
Mazel tov, by the way.
Thank you.
How many people are going to be there?
340.
340. How many of those are your friends?
That's a lot of spagooter.
How many are my friends?
Spagooter, comfooter.
18 of them are my friends. My parents are very important in the community, and it would have been an insult to a lot of their friends not to be invited to this event.
I see. Well,
and honestly, as the kid having the bat mitzvah, the man having the bat mitzvah, I'm all about my parents' rich friends coming. So if they want to invite 200 of their rich friends, go ahead.
That's what I was about to say. Is as most of my friends who have had bar bat mitzvahs have relayed to me, is a big part of that is the gifts, the money that you get from the various guests. So I think for that, Simon, you got to be thinking from a pandering perspective. What can you do that's going to open up those wallets?
You kind of got to ball out as well with your spaghetti confetti. Let them know, like, this isn't no ragu that we got in here. Like, I respect that you're here and I appreciate that you're here. And because of that, you're the spaghetti confetti expert. What do we have in there?
It's ragu.
Pesto.
Oh, pesto.
But really just spaghetti.
If I show up at a bar mitzvah with my finest outfit on and you ruin it with a pesto spaghetti can.
Spaghetti green everywhere.
I can just see it now. The local news comes on and it's like, breaking news. We just found a report coming in that there were 23 casualties at a local bar mitzvah. The spaghetti cannon went off, but it turns out they forgot to defrost the meatballs.
Yes, drowned in spaghetti.
Uncle
Liam,
Liam,
that was possible.
Uncle Liam Goldberg is in critical condition.
14 blinded by flying pesto.
I'd click the heck out of that article. I'd be like, wait, I have so many questions.
Everyone's like, not again. When will the tragedy stop? Yeah. Well, anyway, I have a new invention. And I'm actually hesitant to share this one on here because I think that it's something that's in the future coming and that I would absolutely be all about. But I'll share it anyway because we're all friends here and we're sharing our inventions. You guys ready for this one?
I shared spaghetti confetti. It's only right.
This is a combination of two inventions, two that I hold near and dear to my heart, right? So one of them, you're combining these two together. One of them is the Peloton bike. Doesn't have to be Peloton brand. That's the brand that I'm familiar with, not a sponsor of the show. But you can have any sort of bike that has the capabilities of hooking up the the pedal system to some sort of video and like tracking system. The other thing you're combining it with, the Jurassic Park arcade game that you can play at like bowling alleys or arcades in the mall. And the way that this would work is that you're riding on this Peloton bike and you have the gun in your hands. And the only way you can progress through the game, like you do when you're in the Jeep, shooting at different stuff, is that you have to ride the bike. So when the Tyrannosaurus Rex is behind you, if you're not hitting, 80 miles per hour, you're getting eaten. So through this thing, and you get to slow down at certain points where it's like kind of a slow part, there's like the dialogue or whatever. So that's you kind of just chilling. But then when they're coming after you, you're like, ah!
Sounds like an awesome Dave and Buster's game.
That's what I'm saying. And sick. Good exercise.
100%.
No,
I need
that
to
would actually
tricked.
get me to exercise.
That's what I'm saying. I need to be tricked into exercising. You have to trigger something else. It's never going to be like exercise. It's like compete, win, fun. It's never just like the health of your body that gets me out there. So dinosaurs getting VR. That's what I was going to ask next, JL.
It's like I think to actually make this a thing, all you have to do is get a VR headset and a Peloton.
No, I think the communication between the two is the hard part, right?
Of course. What I'm saying is like to create that is like if you could create the connection between the two where like doing the Peloton actually affects something in the game. That's the only problem you have to solve for.
Coop, that is surely on the horizon. Without a doubt, that's going to be a reality for you at some point.
That's going to be something we all spend our money on.
Oh, I'm going to spend my money on it. The second it's available, I'm spending my money on it.
That's a good one, Goof. I like that.
Well, does this count as a patent?
Yep.
Cool.
I think Craig is a patent lawyer. Craig, does this count? Are we good?
Take care of that, Craig.
Guys, I interviewed for an internship at a patent attorney's office one time. And the lady told me I was very great, but my GPA just wasn't high enough. So I think I'm qualified to issue patents at this point. Yeah. So Coop, patent issued, patent number 1. Because it's the first one I
should have told her that you're against drugs.
Because my GPA wasn't high enough. Yeah. Sorry, ma'am. It's like that for a reason.
I took DARE.
I'm straight
You're not
edge.
tricking me.
Smart. Safe.
You got another one for us, Simon?
I got one more. If we got time for one more, I can throw one more out
Give
there.
us our last one.
Do one.
And this one is really just an intrusive thought that I've never let win because I know it'll hurt me, but I would love for this to exist so that that intrusive thought can win and it won't hurt me. Imagine like not silly putty, but like that gooey, sticky stuff, like fart putty almost, like where like it comes in a tub and you just pull it out and it's like you can squeeze it. It's just like a child's toy, like goo, slime, right?
Right.
You know what looks a
You
lot like that?
You lost me at fart putty, but I'm like,
okay, but like a goo slime. Kids love to play with slime. It feels good. You pick it up, you squeeze it, it's fun. It looks a lot like the stuff that's inside of a lava lamp. And every time I look at a lava lamp, I want to play with the stuff that's on the inside. I want to open it up and I want to take that stuff out and I want to play with it and then put it back. But that would break the whole lava lamp and hurt me a lot. So I propose an interactive lava lamp. I need some material scientists in here that are able to create some sort of liquid that flows like that or substance that flows like that. But then I can, with no harm to myself, take the lid off, reach in, scoop the lava out with my hand, play with it. It's like a stress ball. It's like silly putty. And then when I'm done, drop it right back in the lava lamp and it goes back to being a cool display, a cool feature in my room, an accessory to make my office look better. But it can also be like a stress ball, a fidget, just something
like
fun
you just
to play with.
described the movie Flubber.
I want Flubber to come out of a lava lamp and then be able to go back inside whenever I'm done with him. But it's not alive. I do not need a sentient goo.
What about this? Flubber, except with Kevin Hart.
But he plays Flubber. Not instead of Robin Williams.
He's actually the
Jack
Flubber.
Black plays the Robin Williams character.
Jack Black and Kevin Hart in Flubber.
That would be so good.
It's time to reboot
Come
Flubber. Flubber was like the late 90s. It's been long enough. It's been over 20 years. We can bring Flubber back.
R.I.P. Robin Williams.
That's my idea, though. An interactive lava lamp. Something you can play with. Because don't tell me it doesn't look like something you want to play with. That goo flowing around in there. It looks so soft and squishy.
God, when I think of Robin Williams movies, I never think of Flubber, but that movie was great.
It was so good.
For some reason, the first one that comes to mind is RV, and that is nowhere near his best movie. But whenever I think Robin Williams, RV is the first one that pops into my mind.
RV.
What is RV?
He takes his
seen
family.
RV? Is it Jennifer Aniston?
Dude, no. I like Jennifer Aniston.
I don't think it's Jennifer Aniston. I think
I'm
she's in a
mixing up
different
another
movie
RV.
where they're in an RV.
Yeah, and with like Jason Sudeikis or something.
That's and they're like travel. They're like muling.
We Are the
drugs.
Millers.
We Are the Millers. That's it.
That's a good
Nailed
movie.
it.
That's a good
Nailed
one.
it.
I've seen that one.
And Keith in here saying, I've always wanted to drink the lava lamp as a kid. That's what I'm saying. Like there's intrusive thoughts around a lava lamp.
Keith,
Make that
be
a
honest.
snack. That would be cool. Fill
If you
that thing
drink
with
the lava
candy.
If it turns out that Keith's been drinking lava lamps, that would make all the sense. That would explain a lot, right?
That would explain a lot. Do we have more inventions? Are we calling
More
it for
what?
now? Saving some of our inventions for later days, or we got any more that we're throwing out there today?
I think that wraps it up for
I'm
today.
saving some. I'm definitely not out of inventions.
Oh no, we are not out of inventions. We're just saving them for another day. Guys, that was Here's the Pitch. We're going to probably come back to that one, pitch some more of our ideas at some point going forward. But guys, if you enjoy what we were doing there and all the games we play here, you should run on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy and hit that subscribe button. We've got the fantasy football game show, all sorts of other content. You can check out our shorts, our highlights from this show if you missed anything over here on our YouTube channel as well. FanDuel. Yeah, you can check out our FanDuel content over there as well. So head on over. Front Yard Fantasies. JL's face is all over it. It's in the beans, guys. It's absolutely in the beans. And if we got any golf fans out there, any golf DFS players or fantasy players, you should tee off with Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network tonight. John David Barrett and Pat Perry are here for entertaining golf talk, plus insights for betting and daily fantasy sports for this week's tournament down in Hawaii. They got interviews with professional PGA players, LIV golfers. It's now on demand in the Better Sports Network app. That is Tour Junkies. So check it out in BSN on demand. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Join Corey Nando and friends presented by Mayo Media weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You teased me about this before the show. Maybe you've gone nuts with ticket stubs over the last.
And like I said, I texted you last week, right? So I started out just going through and tripping off and looking for some Dallas Cowboys things. I was telling my son if there was a game and we allowed him to, we said, listen, you with this watch the wrestling thing is aggravating me. 5 years old. You got to pick a team today and stick with it. Whoever wins the game is going to be your team. Washington won the game. And I started thinking about it. It'd be cool to have something from that game. There's a ticket stub for it, right? So when I found this, I started finding more ticket stubs, Nando, and I was like, this is pretty interesting stuff right here, right? So then the next one I kind of caught my eye was another Washington-Dallas game where
I hope these are like $11 ticket stubs here, man, because like there's no significance to these at all except for Corey Parson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not much. So I ended up getting the last time they were called the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
They played the Cowboys.
All right.
Scoop that up for like $4. You know what I'm saying?
Smart.
Now, here's something I got last night, $12, right? You might think this is cool, you might not. Kevin Durant's last game as a Texas Longhorn.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
How about this? The Fab Five versus Duke in the national championship.
That's a good one. $30.
Coach K's second championship, $35.
All right, not bad. Tyler in the background's talking about the Redskins-Cowboys scab game. The Redskins won on Monday Night Football in '87. That's
an interesting one right there. That's a classic. How
Hogan
about this one?
Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3's got it. I bet you that's a $450 ticket at least.
I'm about to tell you about a wrestling one I saw on here. I bought this one just because of how cool it is right here. 1986 Monday Night Football, Washington and Dallas. Check out the ticket.
Tom Landry?
Tom Landry on the ticket.
Nice.
$2
That's a piece of art.
right there. Yeah, it's a piece of art.
That's a piece
you know
of
what
art.
I'm saying?
What are you going to do with
Landry
these?
on the ticket. I have no clue yet. I know I got to figure it out. I'm going to have them. That's what I'm going to do with them. So listen to this one that I saw, right? I saw the ticket from remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin drove the beer truck down to the ring and pulled out the beer hose and sprayed the rock within
That's after my time.
I saw that one, Denver at the Pepsi Center. That ticket, Nando, was online. $850. If I had $850, I would have bought that one, Nando. You know what I'm saying? That one, because that was a legendary Stone Cold moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's things like that. I think the ticket thing, Nando, obviously you want to chase the big items, but I think it lies in what's important to you.
Join Corey, Nando, and friends presented by Mayo Media weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. And guys, those little breaks, I appreciate them so much because what they turn into is 2 minutes of me and just me going over and petting my dogs. I just lay down on the couch in between them. They're just chilling. They're still kind of asleep. And I get to sit down in between them and I just pet my dogs for a little bit. And they're happy and I'm happy. And I come back over here a better man having spent some time with the pups.
Now I feel really bad for not spending time with Rosie in that last break.
You didn't pet Rosie during the break?
Normally, a lot of times I do, but I didn't this time. I was doing something.
Sancho was so happy. He let out a big yawn, just the biggest dog yawn, which is the
my
best.
bad, dog.
There's Rosie.
Sorry, Rosie.
By the way, I found out she is not a black lab yesterday.
Excuse me?
Yeah, we got her DNA test results back or whatever.
And?
Like 33% pit bull, like another big percent German Shepherd. What else is like? There's a little bit of boxer in there. She's a few things, but Chesapeake Bay Retriever, which is another one that we kind of suspected.
There's the retriever. There had to be some retriever in there.
Apparently,
somewhere, right?
completely unrelated to Labrador Retrievers.
Wow.
Yeah,
just
like not the same
animal.
retriever, just the same name. Yeah.
Interesting.
Entirely different animal.
The boxer explains a little bit of the goofiness. Rosie's a goofy girl. She's got some goofy in her. Just a little.
Some like Doberman in there. Long legs.
You got a badass dog.
Yeah,
that's a bunch of badass pups put together to make Rosie.
If I had a pup like that, I would definitely pet her during the break.
Oh, what an ass.
100%.
Apparently on this platform, it tells you who, like, there's another dog or family that got their dog tested that is a 50% match to your dog, and you can message them.
Do you want to be best friends?
My mind.
What do you say?
What do you message them?
What's your intro message?
I got it for you, Jail.
Same as Tinder.
You say, "Hi, dog, mommy," and then the rest of it doesn't matter. But I'm dog daddy, and our dog babies meet.
Nice to meet me.
What's up, dog mommy? I'm dog daddy.
Oh,
Same as Tinder, right?
same as Tinder.
We got Better Boss in the chat saying pets are great therapy. I have 3 cats and take a break to pet them when things get rough. 100%. You go over there. It helps relieve a little bit of that stress for sure.
Easy Aves in the chat, my buddy Averill. Probably potentially watching his first show saying gross. So yes, if you think that's gross, then
buckle up.
Well adjusted.
Welcome to the show.
What did we start the show off today? A corked diarrhea. I believe
you started off the show.
I started off the show with a corked diarrhea.
And you left that open to interpretation, which it's been bothering me ever since.
It's not expanding on.
I'm trying to remember, Jill. You had a different name for him. Which I'm trying to remember. Instead of explaining further, just given the different name, but I cannot remember. Oh yeah, you called it, and I quote, "A Trojan shit horse," is what your name for it was. So Coop, here's all the information.
So good.
I called it a corked diarrhea, and then explained the definition to JL, and he said, "Ah, yes, the Trojan shit horse." What are we discussing?
The Trojan shit horse. What are we discussing?
AKA the corked diarrhea.
I mean,
you tell me.
My guess would be when you take laxatives, but also eat a ton of fiber at the same time and create a Trojan shit horse, cork diarrhea situation.
Downers?
Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Is that what the situation is?
Uppers and downers, but we're referring to your digestive system.
It's when you look at the sun and the moon at the same time.
I'm neutral, but something's spinning in there.
Someone's popping a Docalax, and you're like, "Hey, give me one of those uppers."
Easy Abe says.
Usually I don't mix, but you know what the hell.
Easy Abe's in the chat says the green apple splatters.
That can be included. That can be part of it.
Green apple splatters.
There you go.
But what it is, the Trojan horse or the cork is the solid part that comes out first. But hiding behind it is where all hell breaks loose. Either that Trojan horse opens up, or behind that cork is that champagne popping out.
It's like,
that's what we got.
Like those videos.
Why am I imagining Lord of the Rings?
Like those videos out there of like the workers at like dams that like
exactly
they put the stick in there and they're like bang.
Why am I imagining the scene in Lord of the Rings where they're like all the orcs are on that bridge and trying to get through the door, and then they just keep pushing, and the guys in the front are just they get wrecked, and then everybody just floods.
From
one or two guys does make it through, and you're like, "Oh, look, they're coming through nicely," and then
from now on, I'll be disappointed with you guys if in the chat, if you have to go to the bathroom, you don't say, "Hey, BRB guys, I got some orcs on the bridge."
I got some orcs on the bridge. They're a knocking.
There's some orcs in the knocking. Oh, that's pretty gross, dude.
Oh my god. Dustin said the Hersey squirts. Is that like when you shit your pants in a hearse? Yeah. The Hersey squirts.
There's a hearse that drives around in my neighborhood, and the entire thing is just decked with subs. Like the whole bag of the hearse is just full of subs, and they are the loudest car I've ever heard.
Jimmy John's.
It is a hearse-sized just subwoofer is what they've got that they drive around the block with.
Bunch of turkey toms everywhere.
The Hersey squirts is just another nickname for dysentery.
R.I.P.
That got a little dark.
Dustin said, like the chocolate, guys. Like the chocolate.
Hershey's chocolate.
You don't say.
That makes sense.
We gotcha.
It makes more sense.
Well, guys, as much as I want to keep talking about Trojan shit horses, we are going to talk about some trade values using our friend Alex, aka Peaked in High School's trade value charts. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Alex, go and follow him on Twitter right now. Peaked in HS_FF. The dude puts out the most valuable resource for making trades in the fantasy community. And even if you're not making trades, it's a great way to kind of diagnose your team, see where you stand. Do you have assets that people value? Should you be rebuilding? Maybe is this a time to make some trades? So it's a great way to take a snapshot of where each of your teams stands and then make a trade plan going into this offseason. And we're going to discuss some of these dynasty trade value charts that he's got in here. We put the link in our YouTube chat. And I believe we can get it in that BSN chat as well.
Wait, is Trade Daddy not coming on today?
He is not. Unfortunately, he's on the road, but he did just run the updates for January. So we are working with some fresh dynasty trade values here, guys. Fresh, straight off the press.
Daddy, baby, I got you.
I got you.
Can't sing the Trade Daddy song without him here. Sorry, can't be.
Daddy's on a business trip.
Daddy went out to get milk, and he
don't throw a party.
Did you guys ever throw a party while your parents were out of town?
My mom's listening.
Oh yeah.
It's past the statute of limitations. You can get away with everything.
That's true. I don't think I threw a party. I definitely had people over.
I
didn't throw like a rager. No.
We had some parties.
Coop's like,
things happen.
We had
some seen Project X.
Dude, so funny story with Easy Aves, who's in the chat. One time when I was young, I was at a party in Attleboro, which is the next town over, and the cops showed up, and they made everyone call their parents to come get them. But I didn't want to call my parents. So I knew that Easy Aves and his family would go down to Cape Cod for the summer. So instead, I called his parents' house. And right when I called, I was like, nobody picked up. They were like, call again. So I call again, and the cop takes the phone from me. And he, right as the answering machine's playing, he goes, what's your name? I was like, Andrew. And he leaves this message on their voicemail that's like, hey, just so you know, I'm here with your son, Andrew, with the police. And he was drinking, right? Leaves this voicemail. So I'm like, you got me, dude. You got me. So leave the party. Next day I wake up. I'm like, hitting up Evan. I'm like, Evan, bro, I need to get in your house. There's voicemail that I need to delete or I'm going to be in trouble. So he hits me up. He's like, dude, my parents changed the code to their house. The like lock code. He's like, I don't even know it. So they go down the Cape like a month later. His dad comes back, listens to that message, and he pulled me aside and was like, he's like, that's pretty funny. Don't you ever do that again. But he didn't tell my parents. So my dad's probably listening. Dad, I apologize. I had some beers in high school.
And Easy Abe says, got the tapes.
Got those tapes still. Yeah. Some cop being like, your son, Andrew. I bet his dad, Chuck, was like, oh my God, these kids are so stupid.
I did one time while my parents were out of town, backing the minivan out of the driveway. I was a fresh driver. I turned too early, and that front bumper hit the back bumper of my dad's pickup truck, which is an old school pickup truck with like the hardcore metal back bumper, right? There is no plastic on this car. This car is just metal. But in my mind, I was like, oh, I barely scraped it. I'll just keep going. But then the noise kept getting louder. And then I got out of the car and the entire front bumper fully bent in. And I knew I was going to be in so much trouble. But my parents were out of town. There's no cameras on the outside of my house. So they knew I was lying. I knew I was lying. But I said, yeah, I parked it on the street and I came back out and it looked like this. And my dad looked at me and goes, really? He's like, that's what you're, and I was like, yep. And like, we had this moment where like, we looked at each other and like, we both knew both knew I was lying, but like, how are they going to prove it? And am I going to say that I'm lying? And so
they're like, you little piece of shit.
So we just left it. We left it.
Do they know? Is this like the first time your mom's hearing from you?
They know.
Have you talked about it? I
don't know if we've talked about it, but they surely know. Like without it, they knew the
Mama
moment they saw the front
we
bumper.
We need to know in the chat. Is this shocking news to you? We need your side of the story.
It was dented in pretty good. That
Call
bumper.
You're finally coming clean.
Coming clean. The trade values. Looking at these trade values. Trade values. There's definitely some big movers this week or this month. Sorry, it's not a week anymore. Cortland Sutton dropping down. DeAndre Hopkins dropping down. Makes sense at the end of the year. Devontae Adams. Any names stand out to you guys?
We did a dynasty startup mock draft yesterday on the Fantasy Football Game Show. It was our first mock draft of the offseason. And one of the names that did stand out to me was DeAndre Hopkins and how late he was going. I got him in the 8th round of a 12-team Superflex dynasty startup. Down in the 8th round. After wide receivers like Mike Williams was before him, Marquise Brown was before him, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, Treylon Burks, like all these names ahead of D-Hop, probably because he's a little bit older. But I was surprised by just how far he's fallen. Do you guys think it's just age, or or do you think the situation with the Cardinals is influencing his value as well?
Both. Both for sure. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, when you get to that point, you end up getting this same pattern of people who value these older players, especially during the season. But when it shifts to the dynasty season, people are going to be off them.
Yeah. And you see it with like, Keenan Allen still producing, but he's a similar age. Like that's just the way she goes. But I am surprised by some of the names there. I mean, like just think about I'm a huge Rashad Bateman fan. But I mean, Rashad Bateman, we haven't seen much. We don't know what's going on with that situation, and we don't know if Lamar Jackson's even going to be there. So that's kind of a dicey
uncertainty.
Spot. A lot of uncertainty. Where DeAndre Hopkins, I bet he has wide receiver 1 and definitely wide receiver 2 seasons left in the tank, which is pretty hard to come by. Considering some of these guys, we don't know, right? You don't know if Rashad Bateman will ever have a wide receiver 1 season or even a wide receiver 2. Treylon Burks. I mean, like. We don't
That's
know.
the name I was going to say. There's a very real chance Treylon Burks never has a season as good as what DeAndre Hopkins puts up on average.
Right.
Like
George Pickens, Jamison Williams. Like we don't know. We really don't know.
Like some of those guys I've got more confidence in. I understand them going early, but I do think the value is too far depleted. One, I think people consistently overvalue youth in Dynasty. I think over and over again, that's a mistake a lot of Dynasty players make. And then what Easy Aves in here said, I think people are overreacting to the effect that the situation is going to have on a player as good as DeAndre Hopkins. We've seen him tear it up with the worst of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Like we've seen him find fantasy success, be a top 12 wide receiver with absolutely horrid quarterback.
Tom Savage.
Tom Savage was throwing him the ball. Exactly, Coop. Like I think people are overemphasizing the effect that this quarterback change or team change is going to have on DeAndre Hopkins. He's the dude.
And for the dynasty values, this is the biggest change this is the biggest shift you're going to see for a lot of these players, because the last time it was done was right before like fantasy playoffs where people were still playing to win, right? So DeAndre Hopkins is the exact kind of guy where if you're playing to win right before the trade deadline, you're trying to acquire him. And then right after the season ends, you kind of sit back and say, all right, we got to move some of these guys down. Same goes for another big one that jumped out, Kyle Pitts, going up 9.9, passing Travis Kelce to be the number 1 tight end on here. I'm not saying this has anything to do with a tweet that I sent last week. They got like 700 likes, 200,000 people saw, or whatever it is. I don't think it has anything to do with that, but it might have something to do with it. Kyle Pitts, you look at this guy, man, and he has a 1,000-yard season at 21. Travis Kelce didn't have his first 1,000-yard season till 27. Zach Ertz didn't have a 1,000-yard season till he was 28, and he only had 1 in his entire career. People are sitting back now that it's all up in the air, and next season is a brand new season with a lot of teams got brand new coaches, quarterbacks, the whole deal, and looking at it and saying, hey, time to move Kyle Pitts up. Like Kyle Pitts is the guy we got to take a shot on. So there's going to be a few of those guys across this chart where, their numbers are drastically going to change the moment the season ends.
Yeah, this is my favorite time of year. This is the time of year where all of the fantasy managers who over leveraged themselves because they were win now and then they lost in like the first round of the playoffs, they're going to get that buyer's regret, that buyer's remorse, where DeAndre Hopkins, he probably shouldn't have been valued this high previously, right? Above Mike Evans, near Mike Williams, near some of these younger dynasty assets. Dynasty's probably the value is getting inflated because of the season. And now we're going to see a correction.
Yeah, definitely a lot of the like spite trades where you made that trade, you're like, this is going to put me over the top. And then you lose and you're just like, get him out of my sight.
We brought this up with on a recent Dear Diarrhea segment where I think I brought up talking about you want to be playing like these macro trends, right? And so knowing that in the season, people are going to be inflating values of players who are maybe a little older, who have a little bit more value in the season, but are going to lose that value right after the season. Take advantage of that in the same way that now people are not going to value those older guys. So take advantage of it. Now's the time that you should be going the opposite way of everybody else.
This is my favorite time of year to trade because people just so undervalue wide receivers that are between 27 and 29. They act like they're dead. They like a wide receiver is 27 and they're like, well, they're in the old folks home now. Might as well start getting prepped for the new guys to take over. And you got 3-4 years left. And I'm going to tell you this, most of your dynasty leagues, aren't even going to last the next 4 years. People make them willy-nilly. So play for the next 2 to 3 year window. Stick in that window.
And the funniest part about that is that is related to that's related mostly to running backs. That gives us that mentality. But the age apex for wide receivers is actually age 27. 80. So when you take like the best wide receiver seasons of all time, 80% of them, as crazy as that sounds, have come in that 27 range. Like when Antonio Brown had his best season, when Calvin Johnson had his best season, 27 years old is often the number when they had their peak. The best players have their peaks at ages 27, 28. So that's the age apex for these guys. It's not for wide receivers. It's not like 24, 25. It's usually, a lot of times when it's their second contract, whether they stay where they are because they like it, or they go to a new team, the first chance they get, and then you see Stephon Diggs or AJ Brown going to, a good situation on their own, by their own choice. So like, that's the time to get them. Now, in line with what JL's talking about with these, talking about fading the sentiment, I want to ask you about a very specific player that on this chart took a hit, and for good reason on multiple fronts. Let's say hypothetically, you have one of the best teams in your league. You're confident that you're going to make the playoffs. That's a big part of this. A lot of times you look at your dynasty team and there's almost no question you're going to make the playoffs because it's such a top heavy format, right? There's very good teams, very bad teams. Let's say you're going to make the playoffs. On this chart, Alvin Kamara lost a lot of ranking right when the season ended because he's not only old, but there's a good chance he's going to get suspended somewhere 4 to 6 games, maybe even 8 games. Is that a guy, if you have the hypothetical team I'm talking about, where you're very confident you're going to make the playoffs, do you trade for that guy? And if so, what kind of deal are you trying to make? Or are you guys just staying away? Are you guys out?
Probably staying away. I'm probably staying away. And the reason for that is I think he's still retaining name value. I think there's still value that's pushing him up. He's currently valued in the the Dynasty one doesn't have the same tiers, but at 41 trade value quantity here.
Which is a first round pick, right?
Yeah. I believe so. Back end, probably. I can't count that many, but he's around Dameon Pierce, J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Dalvin Cook. All those guys are in the same tier, according to this chart, as Alvin Kamara in the price range here. I just don't see what return are you going to be getting for what you have to give up for Alvin Kamara? It's ideal case he doesn't get suspended and he has like 2 to 3 more years of the production we've seen. It's possible. I don't think it's likely.
Then you're thinking, would I trade Jerry Jeudy straight up for Alvin Kamara if I'm in that position? Like, is that it's a younger wide receiver, but we haven't quite seen it. But would I give up Jerry Jeudy for Alvin Kamara? And I think yeah, I would. I think I would make that move, even though he's going to be suspended 6 weeks. So like, Jerry Jeudy is sitting here at 38 points in one quarterback on this trade chart. So I'm looking at this, and I think his value right now is actually relatively fair. It's dropped a little bit. Maybe it should drop a little bit more down to like A.J. Dillon territory because of the suspension, because of the age. But I think I'd be willing to make a move for Alvin Kamara, because the good news is, as long as he plays, as long as he does play, and this doesn't turn into something where he doesn't play, his value should probabilistically go up, even though he's aging, right? He's going to get older, but also that suspension, the less it looms, the more information we find out about it. Whenever he's coming back, his value is going to see a bump. So even if you're just trying to capitalize on value, I think this is a low point in his value that you can then capitalize on because we got that suspension incoming.
It's possible. It's also possible that suspension gets drawn out and there's more. It's like more in the news cycle. I feel like you could say that about Deshaun Watson right before he left the Texans, right? Right where things started to kind of come out, where it's like, oh, like maybe this is a low point. Maybe this is just like news, but we don't know that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the difference here is there's been a little bit more clarity around what the league is planning to do with his punishment, right? Like Coop said, we have a prediction 48 weeks. There was complete uncertainty around Deshaun Watson, where it was ranging from never playing again to no suspension, right? with Alvin Kamara, there's a suspension coming. It got pushed because of legal mumbo jumbo and different logistics of court cases and how that works. It's coming. It will be here, and it's going to be 4 to 8 weeks. We just have to wait and see what's going on there. So I get what you're saying, JL, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it could drag on a little bit, but in my mind, the most probable outcome is he plays. People remember, oh yeah, Alvin Kamara is good at football. His value goes up, not to where it was previously, but it does bump up.
Here's my thought process on this, and this is how I often look at it: is if I look at my lineup and come playoff time, which I'm confident I'm going to make the playoffs. If Alvin Kamara would be in my lineup either as my RB2, I mean, he was RB15 this year. So, when he's healthy, you can reasonably expect him to be RB2 with RB1 upside because he is who he is, right? Especially in full PPR. If I look at my lineup and he would virtually be guaranteed to be in my lineup come fantasy playoffs, then I'm willing to trade my pick for him. I'm willing to trade anybody from my bench. So if Jerry Jeudy's not in my lineup, I'm willing to trade Jerry Jeudy. Where I stop is trading away pieces that I'm counting on. Like, I'm not going to trade like a starting wide receiver from my team and start a much worse wide receiver to make this happen, right? Because then I'm hurting my chances of making the playoffs. If I can make a move where I'm not affecting my current lineup, which trading picks obviously doesn't affect your current lineup, say you have 4 good wide receivers and Jerry Jeudy's your 4th guy, he's the next man up. If I can do it without affecting my core lineup, I'm doing that trade. Absolutely. I want to win. I want to win now. So I'm trying to get that player if I'm in a win now situation.
I want to win now, Daddy.
I want the world.
Coop is the Veruca Salt of fantasy football.
You would definitely be the TV cowboy. What's his name?
Mike TV, isn't that his
Mike
name?
TV for sure.
Mike TV,
which means Jay. He has to be Augustus Gloop now.
No, I think Jail's chewing the bubble gum. Jail's smacking the gum and turning it into a blueberry.
You think he's a blueberry dude?
Jay, to be honest, guys, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm kind of scared.
You never seen Willy Wonka?
You guys are just saying words.
You never seen Willy?
Is a Willy Wonka thing?
Yeah, you're Violet Beauregard. JL is who you are, without a doubt.
Yeah. Violet Beauregard.
Violet. Fizzy left in.
Give me a little chocolate.
Chocolate. Yeah.
Daddy.
They used to call my sister Veruca anytime she said anything like negative, and I think it caused like permanent damage, like childhood. Like anytime she would say something, we'd just be like Veruca. Like she would like ask for a glass of water, and we'd be like, I want a glass of water now. Just acting like she was being a brat when she was just being a child asking for water. Now the mantle's been passed to you, Coop. Also, Dustin said his Jail never seen Willy Wonka. That's worse than not seeing Shawshank.
I've seen Willy Wonka. I was a kid. I don't remember all that stuff.
You don't remember any character? We broke down that's like the entire movie.
I was like 6, Coop.
Well, you gotta watch it again, dude.
Watch the Johnny Depp version if you have never seen it, because that one's a lot more fun than you remember it being.
I feel like I am probably not gonna watch either of them.
Huh.
Because I don't know. They just don't seem that interesting to me.
So I've brought up obscure subreddits in the past, like stapling bread to trees. There's a very obscure Willy Wonka subreddit that cracks me up that I'm subscribed to. It's called Grandpa Joe Hate.
I've seen Grandpa
The
Joe.
entire subreddit is dedicated to just calling Grandpa Joe a big lazy piece of shit for basically just being in bed the whole time. And then when he gets the golden ticket, he's just like hops up and he's like, "Let's go! I'm not dying anymore.
I'm healed. It is a miracle."
Right? So the whole subreddit dude, it's one of the more active subreddits. There's 150,000 people subscribed. It says that right now there are 20 people in there at this moment, including me, kind of looking at it. But every single day there's a new meme in there, and usually they make me chuckle. So check it out. Grandpa Joe Hate.
Jay in here said, Superflex League, I just traded Jacoby Brissett for 301. How's that look on the chart? Well, Jacoby Brissett's not on the chart, so pretty good. Seems like you got a free 3rd round pick. Well done.
In Superflex, he's not even on the chart.
No, he's a backup.
Yeah. Just not there.
Would you trade for Jacoby Brissett, Superflex?
I would trade a 4th for Jacoby Brissett, I think. Like I'll trade a 4th round pick. That's just scraps at that point. I'll take a backup quarterback who's 1 injury away from starting instead of some player who's likely never going to see meaningful snaps. That's what, like, you find gold in the 4th round from time to time, but if we're just talking probabilities, it's way more likely Jacoby Brissett as a backup quarterback for an NFL team finds his way onto my starting lineup than whoever the random shot I'm taking in the 4th round is.
Jacoby Brissett seems like that kind of guy that could even be a free agent in the real NFL.
Yeah.
Just kind of waiting around because like he seems like he can pick up playbooks pretty quick where if a team signs him, he could go like their quarterback gets hurt and he gets signed. He could go from not even in the league to starting for a team, right? He's that kind of dude. So there is value of that in Superflex. You never know when you're going to need a guy like that.
And sometimes in Superflex, you get down to where you're starting like Keyshawn Vaughn or Mike Boone in your Superflex spot. That's a real thing I had to do this year. I had to put Mike Boone in a Superflex spot. I would have killed for Jacoby Brissett. No, I did not win that week.
Looking at the Superflex chart, I'm looking at the quarterbacks, just seeing how they shifted. Trevor Lawrence, 27.2 bump. That was his trade value bump from last month to this month. That's pretty significant. He's now here listed as QB7 in the chart, so the 7th most valuable quarterback at Superflex. Do you guys agree with that?
The one that's interesting to me is the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields split. They're right next to each other, but Trevor Lawrence is ever so slightly ahead of him. I agree that Trevor Lawrence should be up here. I do think the fantasy upside is higher for Justin Fields. Like just from a fantasy perspective, the NFL ceiling maybe a bit higher for Trevor Lawrence. There's definitely more risk with Justin Fields, but I'm surprised that Justin Fields isn't just a little bit ahead of Trevor Lawrence in this.
Would you take Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence?
No, I didn't yesterday. I took Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields in a startup dynasty draft. Both of them were on the board, and with a 1st round pick, I took Trevor Lawrence. So I'm surprised that Justin Fields isn't ahead of him, but I would take Trevor Lawrence ahead of Justin Fields.
I think you got to. It depends on the direction you're going with your build. Like if I'm drafting guys like Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, and guys who are, or have a short shelf life of themselves, I have no problem taking mobile quarterbacks that, realistically we kind of do have to start treating them like running backs, both in terms of the shelf life and in terms of the risk of injury. Because they pretty much all got hurt this year, did they not? Except for Josh Allen. And last year they pretty much all got hurt. Like that's kind of how it goes with that situation. But the upside is so great that you almost can't afford to not have at least one of those guys in Superflex. So for me, and I usually do play to win right away, so I would draft Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence. If I was doing a build that's more of like a draft a bunch of young wide receivers and play the long haul, then I'll take Trevor Lawrence.
Who do you think? Let's say a month from now, after these charts are released, the playoffs are over. So maybe there's some shine on Trevor Lawrence because of that big playoff win. Who do you think is going to be higher in these charts next month? 1 month from now, we're looking at the February charts after their run, after the Super Bowl. Who's going to be higher?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
So if this were redraft, who would you take first?
Justin Fields, I think.
Yeah, probably Justin Fields.
That's what I'm saying. So the real thing that scares us is the long-term sustainability of running the ball 150 times, right? So if you're playing for the short term, I like
passing volume.
Fields. Yeah. Like if I had to pick a guy and say, I bet this guy plays until he's 38 years old, I would pick Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields just by the nature of the way they play the game.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence is mobile, but not in the same way that Justin Fields is mobile. Trevor Lawrence can move. Justin Fields, that's an asset of his game. That dude, that is a shining point of what he does on the field.
He can scamper. He can scoot.
Unbelievable. Also, I like the joy I feel every time I see him like break off a 60-yard run. Like I haven't been that excited watching an NFL player since Lamar Jackson's first season where he broke out, right? Like that Lamar Jackson breakout season was so much fun to watch. That's the kind of fun I had watching Justin Fields this year break off those big runs.
It's like watching the Daytona 500. Like, there's going to be a big, crazy moment. You don't know when it's going to happen, though.
You just got to wait for it.
You just got to wait for that 60-yard run, which is the 10-car pileup at the 500.
Thanks for putting in terms I could understand, Coop.
I got you, though.
Hey, we talk all this now.
Notorious NASCAR hater.
I got a NASCAR pin on my jacket.
Whoa!
I found it.
You're a NASCAR driver now?
It says NASCAR Winston Cup champion 2002, Tony Stewart.
That's it's a Tony Stewart too, which goes right in JL's face. He's a notorious Tony Stewart hater.
Tony MF and Stewart. If NASCAR drivers got $1,000 every time they annoy people, they'd be so much richer than they are.
Kyle Busch is the richest man in the world. You know that pin that's
I was just seeing if it was annoying.
You know that pin is old when the cup at the time was sponsored by cigarettes.
Still is. Virginia
Sponsored
Slims.
by Cancer Sticks.
Smoke.
Sponsored by a highly addictive chemical that is bad for your health.
Hooray.
NASCAR.
Tim said, I just want to see Trevor and Calvin stack next year. Yeah, that is going to be wild.
Calvin Ridley's an interesting one. I got some flack for where I drafted him in our draft yesterday. I took Calvin Ridley because I drafted Trevor Lawrence and I ended up taking him, or was that in the 7th round? End of the 7th round, I took Calvin Ridley.
He's valued in this chart here as a 28-point trade value, trade market value here. He's jumped up 6.4 since last month. That must be the more closer we get to next season. I think the more his value is going to rise. But he's up here above Keenan Allen, above Gabe Davis, above Juju Smith-Schuster, Cortland Sutton, Elijah Moore.
So here's another one. He's right behind Christian Kirk. A tier below, but the next wide receiver ahead of him is Christian Kirk. You guys think, let's talk again. This time next month, is Calvin Ridley higher than Christian Kirk on this trade chart? Because he is moving up the list. The season's going to end, and we're going to start thinking about next year.
I'd rather have Christian Kirk, man, because there's multiple sides to this. Calvin Ridley, without Julio Jones, people forget that he did play in that season when he got suspended. So he didn't play all last year. In 2021, he did play, and he was terrible. He did not play well. And we don't know for sure how he's going to respond to not only coming back, but hypothetically facing the top coverage, facing the top corner. These other teams are rolling out there. Like, he was very target dependent when he was with the Falcons. And in the games when Julio didn't play, if you go back and look at him, when he faced like Jair Alexander and when he faced I think he had a game against Jair Alexander where he didn't catch a single pass, right? When Julio Jones was hurt. So I don't know. I did trade for Calvin Ridley in a dynasty league because you're not going to fall for the hype, but just keep in mind that there's a real possibility where he comes out and he's more Allen Robinson than he is, a super megastar.
Coop, I think Calvin Ridley's going to pass Christian Kirk in value. I think people love a hype train here that this time next month he's going to pass it. And I'm going to put some money down
in perceived value.
In perceived value on here. I think the perception.
It's market value, yeah.
I'm willing to throw $1 down that Calvin Ridley is valued more than Christian Kirk this time next month.
Because I think that there's a difference between perceived value and who actually is better. Like, who's better in fantasy. Like, if you wanted to bet with me on Lucra that you think next year Calvin Ridley scores more points than Christian Kirk, I'll take Christian Kirk in that bet if you want to do that. But if you want to bet on perceived value, then I'm not going to do that because I know that people can be heavily swayed by the unknown.
That's a long time before a payout, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
You're putting the I'm putting my undefeated record at risk.
Yeah, 1-0. Guys,
betting with my nemesis according to the app as well.
Guys, that is going to be it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every day, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time, talking football, talking corked diarrheas, and talking about inventions as well. Coming up next here on the Better Sports Network, we've got Moose and Keith, and they've got some awesome guests today. Fox College basketball reporter John Fantz at 11 a.m., and then Taylor Mathis at 11:30 a.m. as well. Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru is going to be on right after that, followed by Corey, Nando, and friends for all of your Babe Ruth conspiracy theories. Until tomorrow, we are out of here, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Front Yard Fantasy, out.